Lock the gate!
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fuck buddies, what the fucking ears, what the fuck nicks, what the fuckables, what the fuckleberry thins. How's it going? I am Marc Maron. This is WTF. Welcome to the show. Today, double header. Portland. It's a Portland double header with Ian Karmel and Ron Funches. Now, the one thing about having these guys on today, I interviewed them at different times, but I put them together because there was sort of a theme to it in my mind, is that I know a lot of you realize that comics all know each other. Well, a lot of us know each other, but a lot of us came up together. And what that really means is that we were part of a comedy scene. And when I was starting out in New York, it was very specific. I mean, there were comedy scenes in other places, but the primary comedy scenes when I was coming up, well, you had New York, you had LA, you had Boston, you had San Francisco. They had healthy comedy scenes where you could live and work and do comedy and develop and maybe even make a little money. Now, almost every fucking city in the country has a comedy scene. There are comedy scenes everywhere. A lot of that has to do with the evolution of comic produced shows. There's a lot of alternative venues that have happened and changed the face of comedy. But these guys, Ian Karmel and Ron, both come from and Ron Funches both come from the Portland scene. They're a couple of generations behind me, but you talk to these guys, they both knew each other. And at one time Portland only had one club, and they had a fight to get on there if they even got in there. But there were other areas, there were other clubs, alternative venues. I mean, and they talk about the other cats that are up there: Shane Torres, Sean Jordan, Whitney Street, Dwight Slade, who's actually in my generation, lives up there, Augie Smith, Amy Miller. And there's like a whole world of comics up in Portland. Andy Wood, who put on the Portland Comedy Festival initially. It's a thriving scene, and these are a couple of guys they've delivered. Delivered. That's right. Ian Karmel, Ron Funches were delivered to show business from Portland. And that's why I have them bunched together, themed. I mean, when I was coming up, there's some great memories about being a young comic and living this life, which is a very peculiar life. It's it's an entertainer's life. You're up late at night. You're waiting to do spots. By the time you're done with your evening, it could be 1, 2 in the morning. And back in New York, it'd be me, Todd Barry, Louis C.K., Sarah Silverman, Jeff Ross, Dave Attell. We'd all end up at the Kiev, which isn't there anymore, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, eating pie, eating ice cream, talking about stuff. That was the time when we really socialized. I mean, we weren't usually going home until the sun was coming up. And you could do that because we were fucking comedians. And there was something about those times. There was an innocence to it all. And to see how everybody turned out and how everybody evolved. And at that time, we were all trying to figure out why we were funny, how we were funny. But you had a certain camaraderie there. And it kept you going. Comedians need that. You can't develop in a vacuum. It's very amazing that almost every city in the country, now has its own scene. And that camaraderie is available. And that, you can do that. I hope that all the places in the country have a lot of places you can eat late at night, because that was essential to my development as a stand-up comedian. We've got a new sponsor today, and this one is great for anyone out there selling stuff online. When you're selling online, people, you know how tough it can be getting your orders out the door quickly. That's why I want to tell you about ShipStation.com. You heard me. It's the fast and easy way to manage and ship your orders all in one place. With ShipStation.com, you'll be shipping out more of your stuff, but in less time. Whether you sell on eBay, Amazon, Etsy, or from more than 50 other popular marketplaces, ShipStation.com brings all your orders into one place to make them easy to manage so you can ship them out fast. With ShipStation.com, easily create shipping labels using all the top carriers like UPS, FedEx, and the U.S. Postal Service through Stamps.com. ShipStation is the #1 choice of online sellers with an incredible 98% customer satisfaction rating. This is really a no-brainer, people. If you're selling stuff online, how many times have you said to yourself, I wish someone else would handle all this shipping info? Well, now you have ShipStation.com to handle it for you. Right now, you can try ShipStation.com free for 30 days, plus you can get an additional month free only if you use my offer code WTF. 2 months free, and that's a great deal. 2 months free if you use the offer code WTF. So don't wait. Go to ShipStation.com, and before you do anything else, click on the podcast button at the top of the homepage and type in WTF. That's ShipStation.com. Enter WTF. Now, I want to tell you, when I was up in Portland working at Helium, once Helium came around and all these cats had a place to work and at least to open and feature and do some open mic work, it really kind of congealed, solidified the Portland scene in a lot of ways. I would go up there, always get a local opener, and that's where I met Ian Karmel. Ian Karmel, I can't remember if he opened or featured for me. I think he actually did both. I think the first time I was there, he opened, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy's strong. And then he featured for me, and I'm like, holy shit, how am I going to follow that? This guy's an animal, this Ian Karmel fella. It's a big boy with a big tone, big jokes. I also met Funches up there, too. He did a guest spot for me. That was the first time I met him up in Portland. And then you just sort of know there's a sensibility to Portland. There's a lot of creativity up there. And now Ian's down here, but he's got a hell of a story. So, let's talk now to Ian Karmel, and then we'll do Funches after him. Was I trying to give you a pep talk about L.A. before you left?
You did give me you were great the whole way. I emceed for you once upon a time. And Twice. I emceed, and I also featured for you.
You emceed for me once, and then you featured for me, once or twice?
At the club, and then also you let me at the Aladdin Theater in Portland.
Oh, I did, right?
Remember that show?
Yeah,
that was a fun show.
It was. There was some sort of plumbing problem.
There was a plumbing problem, and somebody brought you a loaf of banana bread, which you let me take home.
That's right, Paige.
I ate like half of it on the way home.
Yeah. Right. So what did I say? Tell me a good thing about me, because I need to hear it.
I'll tell you several good things. You were very encouraging just from the beginning, saying like, if you come down to LA, let me know. I'll get you on shows. And I took you up on it. I don't know if people take you up on it, but I did. And you came through with it. I got on shows. I got to do comedy Death Ray, Bang Bang, whatever it was called at the time, before it ended. Yeah. And maybe before I was ready. But I don't know. I think it went well. But you did that, and then you were also encouraging about coming to L.A. You're like, go do it, get down there.
Why not?
And a little bit of like, why aren't you down there yet?
Yeah.
When are you coming?
That was right. I went back up there. I'm like, are you going to stay up here?
You still doing here? What are you still doing here?
You can be stuck here, buddy.
Exactly. You got to, and that made me think about those people who do get stuck in their scenes.
Every scene, dude.
You see them when you're on the road, and it hurts your soul. That's the... stand-up comedy can be very sad even for successful people. Yeah. And then when you see those people who are, like, stuck in Kansas City, they've been there forever, they can't leave, or they've convinced themselves they can't leave.
Yeah, because, quite honestly, it's interesting because those kind of people with that type of personality, they might not be able to cut it here. If you go sort of like, all right, I guess I'm coming. If you're not like, this is it.
Yes. I think you need to jump into it, and throw yourself into it.
Yeah, and do whatever you got to do.
Some people get uncomfortable if they go a couple weeks between, like, paying gigs. Yeah. They're used to, they were born on the road.
Yeah, well, that's a killer, too, right?
Yeah.
It can be.
They can't. Even, like, very funny comedians who would do well here never stay long enough to put down roots.
Right.
And they're always off.
And they don't ever engage.
Yeah.
In the thing.
They've always got their eye on the road still.
Right. I live in LA, but I don't really get, they're like, I don't get asked to do much. I'm like, no one's going to ask you to do anything.
You have to, people are so afraid of asking to do stuff. I don't understand it. It's so competitive, but I guess I think my opinion is if you think you're funny, you should ask to do things. If you think you're going to take advantage of an opportunity and do well and reflect well upon the people who recommended you, why not get in there and do it? It's going to be some other schmuck doing it.
Well, that was the thing about you is like even when you emceed for me that time, I'm like, holy fuck, this guy's got some momentum. I'm like, what the fuck? How long's this guy been doing it? You get up there, you own the fucking stage. You're a big boy anyway.
I am a big boy. Yeah.
But despite that, I mean, I think that can work in your favor. But you definitely had the confidence in this sort of kind of bravado.
Yeah.
I don't know if is it bravado, just this sort of like this. You're going to reckon with me. There's no insecurity that I saw.
I don't feel any on stage.
Was that always the case?
I mean, the first like performance I ever did was I took an improv class in college.
In Portland?
In Portland, Oregon, at Portland State University.
Yeah.
My uncle Scott Parker taught it, and I needed an arts credit.
Yeah.
I was eventually going to go to law school. My dad's a lawyer, and I wanted to go be a lawyer. But you needed an arts credit, so I was like, I'll take this improv class. It should be easy. And then I made people laugh, like kind of like right off the bat. It was the same kind of shit you do in class to be clever.
Yeah.
Like you just have to be quick with an answer. And everybody knows how to be funny.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
that's true. But doesn't it feel like it almost seems like people, as you get older, got less and less funny?
Well, no, I think that there are some people that can't help themselves.
Yeah.
And they're the people that cause trouble. And
class clowns.
Yeah.
I was never one of those.
You weren't?
I would come in, I would have like a funny answer to a question, that a teacher would ask. But I was never the kind of person who would like pull my balls out and tell them like, look at the robin's egg.
Who the fuck does that?
There were people who did that.
That's not a class clown.
This guy Sean Simmons.
That's a kid with a problem. He's pulling his balls out. He's doing that in front of the class, or
he would do it in front of the class, or he'd like pull it out on the sly, like look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, no, that's not a class clown. That's,
okay.
How'd that
It's
kid
a sex
end?
offender.
Kinda. How'd he end up that kid?
I don't know how you end up that kid.
No, but how long did you know that guy?
I knew that kid until the end of high school.
How did he end up in high school? What did he do in high school? Was he still showing his balls?
He was on the football team with me.
Football.
I played football. I had to. I'm gigantic, and they wouldn't leave me alone.
The thing I didn't get about you was like, I was in Portland. I don't quite understand Portland, and here you are. You're this big, gregarious Jew that was clearly built somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, how the fuck does Ian Karmel end up in Portland, Oregon?
I'm from Beaverton, which is just 9 miles outside of Portland.
Wait, no, somewhere, you came through New York somewhere.
My father's from Brooklyn.
There.
Yeah.
So what was that?
I don't know, he's from Brooklyn, and he's like a normal-sized version of me. Maybe a little more self-obsessed.
But so you got grandma and grandpa in Brooklyn, or what?
They live in Florida now.
But they were in Brooklyn?
They were in Long Island when I was growing up, but they were from Brooklyn. My father's dad died before I ever met him.
Yeah.
And my grandmother remarried. She was from Europe, and my father's dad, who died before I met him, was also from Europe. They escaped the Holocaust. She was from Belgium. He was from Paris. And they have pretty interesting stories. Like my grandmother had to hide in a Catholic convent.
Yeah.
For a couple years, and the nuns smuggled her out.
Did she tell you that story?
My dad told me this story.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to her. She's still alive. I haven't talked to her about it. She doesn't. I mean, she goes around to schools. I know all the stories that I feel like she'd be comfortable telling me.
Yeah.
And then I feel like there's stories that she wouldn't be comfortable telling me, but maybe I should ask. Why would I not?
I don't know, because sometimes you don't think it's the right thing to do.
It feels like it's not the right thing to do. It feels like...
I think there's a lot of grandparents now that are being assaulted by their grandchildren with cameras.
All these NPR...
Yeah. Tell me the story about when Grandpa died in the fire.
Right.
Yeah.
All these people, they want to record their grandmother being sad and then slowly fade in a Cibo Motto track in the background and then fade it back out while she starts another story. There's a whole generation of those people. I feel it's hard how do you talk to a Holocaust survivor, Her whole family was
start with
out.
that was bad, right?
Yeah, that was some shit, right?
Yeah, right, the Nazis.
Yeah, I had a rough day, but you've had some rough days.
Yeah. Tell me about that Nazi thing where you were running for your life.
Yeah. Go on, your sister didn't make it. How did that make you feel? Sometimes I don't call my sister for a week.
Did her sister not make it?
There were two, there's a family picture that my dad has.
That looks like that one back there on the shelf?
It does exactly that same tone, sepia tone, and very dour Jewish faces.
Dour Jewish faces.
Dour, but there's more of it. It's like a bigger picture. There's probably I want to say 12 or 15 people in the picture.
Yeah.
And 2 of them made it out.
Oh.
Yeah. And then there's my dad's side.
Yeah.
Where they stayed in the same apartment in Paris.
Yeah.
For a couple years during the Nazi occupation of Paris.
Yeah.
And who knows, I mean, the implications of what his mother had to do.
Yeah, I can't imagine it.
I can't imagine. It's insane.
Well, maybe so there's the mother, the woman that you don't know how to talk to her about?
That was the one who hid in the monastery.
Whose mother is that?
That's my dad's mother.
All right, but who's the one that lived in Paris?
That's my dad's father.
Who
okay.
died. Who died, right.
And he
had a bunch of sisters.
No, it was just him and his brother.
Okay.
Who ended up in Israel or something, or staying in France. I forget. It's all very murky. It's hard as a Jew to get too involved in family detail, like family history and stuff like that, because there was so much movement and tragedy
around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all my people were here. They missed it.
Yeah.
They got out before. They came in from Russia, come in from Poland before
they had their own shit.
thing.
They had their own bad.
Well,
I mean, right?
Just the fact that they had to get here on a boat.
That's bad.
Could you imagine a fucking boat?
No, I can't.
A boat that you had that was the only option. It's not a cruise.
I get bitchy sitting in traffic alone in an air-conditioned car.
Like, we're going to the new world, and what are the options? Well, we can't take a train. It's water.
Yeah.
There's no commercial airlines. They're going to be on a boat for a month.
They're on that ship just eating like a pot of boiling water with a stick of celery in it. Like
that's what you picture. I can't imagine they were on the top tier there.
It couldn't have been much nicer. No, they're not coming over having like delicious.
Not on the Titanic.
Yeah.
Fortunately. All right, so you weren't born. You were born in Beaverton.
I was born in Portland.
Really?
And lived there till I was 1. Yeah, I have like kind of my dad has a pretty thick accent, and then we would go to New York.
Where's your mom from?
She's from Portland.
So how did he end up there?
Law school.
Oh.
He came out to a Lewis and Clark Law School because he was a hippie and he wanted to be an environmental lawyer.
That's a good school, though, right?
It's a good school. Yeah. He was. He's that first generation of immigrant where you have to work hard and accomplish things.
Yeah.
And then I'm that second generation of immigrant where I get to try to be a comedian.
Yeah, because he earned...
Because he earned a good living.
He earned you the right to not give a fuck.
Right, exactly.
And he didn't instill any values in you.
And then my parents got divorced, so he couldn't come down on me too hard about, like, pursuing improv.
So wait, he goes to Lewis and Clark to be a hippie lawyer.
Yeah.
Where does he end up?
Doing, like, divorce.
Oh, the death of a dream.
Oh, yeah. It happens eventually.
Yeah.
I'm writing for a TV show on E. It all eventually happens. And he dated my aunt for a little bit first, and then eventually met
your mother's sister?
Yeah, my mother's sister. And then met my mother, and then they were married for 10 years, had a couple of kids.
What'd she do?
She's a nurse.
Still?
Yeah. She's a baby nurse.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh.
So you got 2 sisters?
I got 2 sisters, older sister, younger sister. My younger sister and I have the same dad, Ivan, the lawyer. And then my older brother and older sister have a different dad who passed away when they were in their teens.
Okay.
Yeah, but we were all raised together. It's never felt like we were half siblings.
You're all with your mother?
With my mother, yeah.
Yeah.
And she took in, like, their friends, too. She's one of those just, like, the door is open.
Like, so people coming and going in the house?
My older brother and older sister, they would have friends who would come live with us for, like, a week or 2. They would, like, these, like suburban troublemakers, driving around in, like, a Mazda and, like, hitting mailboxes with a baseball bat kind of people.
Yeah.
And they would come and stay with us for weeks, like, sometimes, like, a month at a time.
Yeah.
In the house.
Yeah.
And for me, that was great. Like, my brother's 9 years older than me, and his friends were all cool, so I got to kind of, like, hang around.
Did they turn you on to the music?
Yeah, they would a little bit. Yeah, like with
you need those guys,
rap
right?
music. Yeah.
Oh, with the rap.
They did. Yeah, I got into they would listen to like Too Short and NWA around the house.
Really?
And I got into that, and then Metallica too.
Oh yeah, that from 2 different siblings.
No, that's all from my older brother and his friends. He just like loud, hard stuff, and I still like. I think that is important to have that formative influence.
Yeah, if you don't have them, you got to go find them.
How else do you figure out what's cool?
So you got all these sibs. Don't you have a nutty uncle too?
I do. I have the guy who taught me improv.
What the hell is that guy's story?
He's he married my mom's sister, the one my dad initially dated.
Yeah.
And they're not even living together anymore, but they had one of those. They had like a very civil just divorce where they were just like, well, we're done here, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're done. And then
Close
they just
it up.
Sort of went their separate ways.
Yeah.
He was just a guy. My aunt and my uncle, actually, my uncle Tommy Improv and my aunt who he was married to, were both like in theater in Portland, doing like doing plays, doing improv groups in like shitty basements places, and and doing all that sort of stuff. But they all stayed in Portland.
Yeah.
Everybody stayed in Portland.
Yeah.
And eventually taught like he did. And my aunt she would do a play every like year or something.
Yeah.
You like the Menopause the Musical type shit.
Yeah.
But my uncle, he's the guy who I learned improv from, and then I would like TA his class.
Yeah.
And eventually he helped push me like out of Portland.
into stand up, and he's still around.
He's still around. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to retire from teaching soon.
Was there another one? Was there a bad seed somewhere?
There's a lot of bad seeds on my mom's side of the family. Everybody dies from heroin on my mom's side of the family. They all live in Portland and do heroin. It's stereotypical. Everything's like a Gus Van Sant movie.
Is it stereotypical to be a grown man, with a career, and it's like, oh yeah, what does your family do? Well, one side of the family does heroin.
Yeah, one.
It's Portland. My mom's a nurse, and there's a bunch of other people. They just do heroin.
On my dad's side, they're kind of like artists. On the mom's side, heroin junkies. I've lost three. I've lost two aunts and an uncle.
Really?
To heroin. Yeah. One married pair, my Uncle John and Cheryl, his wife, both died from heroin years apart. And then just recently, my Aunt Judy, like last year, a year and a half ago.
It's horrible.
They can't, it's horrible. The thing with like my Aunt Judy is like, she was a wonderful, completely sweet woman.
Yeah.
But one of those people where she was effectively dead from the amount of drugs she'd done, like pretty much the whole time I knew her. So when she died, it was very sad. But
Yeah.
It was also just like,
the natural course of
it
things.
seemed like it had been coming for so long.
But but how old are these people? I mean, does that, Portland has been like sort of a heroin port?
For a long time.
For a long time. What,
Yeah.
from, where does it come from? From China? From Vietnam? Or is it's not the Mexican heroin, is it? Listen.
I think it's local. I don't know where they're.
Well, it's got to come in, right?
Right, because it's got to be poppies.
Yeah, well, it's got to come in from somewhere, but but that's the weird feeling. Like, I never spent much time in Portland, but I spent a little time in Seattle. You get up there into the Pacific Northwest, and there's a heaviness to it.
There's a big heaviness, and there's a darkness to it that, like, now people watch Portlandia, and they're like, oh, it's all goats, and, and artisanal cheeses and quinoa and shit like that. It's not. Like, even the little circle of Portland that Portlandia talks about, it has a big, heavy, dark side to it.
Well, I mean, you grew up there because now it's completely changed.
It has.
Like, because like when I go up there, I feel like, there's a type of darkness and it's not a seediness, but there's sort of an ended, sort of the last stop on the train
It's
feeling.
absolutely the last stop. Well, that's like Chuck Palahniuk wrote that book, Fugitives and Refugees, about Portland, which is great. He said that's like, it's the last stop. People from the rest of the country, it's almost like
either they go to Florida or they go to Portland,
right.
Depending on, what they're propelled towards.
Exactly. They all sort of drain towards it. Yeah, if they're more artistic, they end up in Portland, and if they just want to...
Bleak and artistic, or if they just want to go to the beach because they earned it.
Right.
Or they...
Pensacola.
Right, yeah, or if their lives have gone so horribly wrong, they need to settle in Key West.
That's all. Oh, God, literally the end of the line.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been chased there.
But did you feel that growing up?
You would see it when you would walk around downtown Portland.
When you're a kid, because you're what, 29?
29.
So, all right, so let's say 20 years ago, before there was any glimmer of like, artisanal anything.
Yeah.
There was no pock. There was no pork belly sandwiches.
Powell's was there, but it was just
Books.
a bookstore.
It was a hippie bookstore, right?
Rather than an idea, yeah.
Right. So it was a small town.
Yeah.
And it was a small dark town with no black people.
Absolutely not. No, because they let that part of town flood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was on the books that, we can't have the black people here for a long time.
It was an incredible, Oregon itself was incredibly racist for the longest time. And it was my dad got beat up by a skinhead outside of like a 7-Eleven, like in 1982, 83, fairly recently. Just got like, he might have, my mom changed, she says like he was talking shit to the skinheads. But there were still skinheads there.
It's right by Idaho, and that's not known for anything good.
Ever. I don't know if Idaho ever goes through like a Portland change. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah. It's known for TM and for off the grid white supremacy.
Exactly. Yeah. It's great at both of them. It's great. But people, you'd see street kids, you'd see strung out people who, like, even when you're 9, who don't look like too much older than you, like teenagers.
Yeah.
There's a huge, like, lots of homeless teenagers in Portland, all strung out on heroin.
Right. This same with Seattle before Seattle took a turn.
Yeah.
Because there was a big runaway contingent, big heroin problem up there. I wonder where the fuck it comes in. If it's Seattle, it's got to come in from Asia, right? It's
got to be from the ports. Portland, I mean, is a port city as well, not to the level Seattle is, but it's got to be coming in there.
Well, yeah, because it's like the Asians and Japanese, and it's got to be like that Golden Triangle shit from Vietnam and stuff. Yeah, it's probably been going in there since just after the Vietnam War and shit.
I'm sure it has. Yeah.
Yeah. So but when you grew up with these, did you feel like a lot of members of your family were part of that kind of like that hippie thing?
I don't know if they were hippie. Like, I see pictures of my Uncle John, who died when I was 13. He died the day after my bar mitzvah.
Really?
Yeah. Or like 2 days after. I think it was the day after.
Did he go to your bar mitzvah?
He did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did he look bad?
No, that's the thing. I mean, when like a heroin addict dies, it tends to be because they got clean.
Yeah. Right. Or they get bad dose.
They get a bad dose, or they get clean and then try to take as much as they were taking before.
Right.
And then just completely fuck themselves up because their body's not used to it.
What happened with John?
That's what happened to him.
Oh.
That's what happened to my aunt as well. She died right after she got out of treatment.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. They both left children behind, and and the family has, took in my Uncle John's kid, and my Aunt Judy, her children were fully grown. But and there's a lot. You'll have.
It's just a weird thing that people don't realize is that this is a woman with fully grown children.
Yeah.
Who's been, on and off being strung out for decades.
Their entire life.
Yeah. And you just don't think of my mom's a heroin addict. My aunt, she's a, functioning heroin addict.
Exactly. It's
a unique thing.
You think about your parents, they're kind of messed up, but they're not functioning heroin addicts.
Right.
And that's real life for somebody.
Yeah.
It's not like a compelling Showtime
Your life.
drama. It is, yeah. She would, she'd show up to Christmas, and I could never suss it out because she'd always been like that, but my mom would be like, oh, she's fucked up.
Yeah.
Right now. Coming to holiday parties.
So your mom's not Jewish?
She converted before I was born.
Really? So your dad really had the pull on her.
He did have the pull on her, yeah. He wanted Jewish children, and I think his parents really wanted Jewish children. But she grew up pretty much a religious, I think, from a Catholic
So you got Christmas
background.
and the Hanukkah.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And then when they got divorced, I got like Christmas and Hanukkah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you grew up with all these cousins.
Yeah.
And everyone's around, tight family. You seem pretty well adjusted.
I'm decently well adjusted. I feel like there's something, like there's a giant squid of being fucked up swimming around somewhere in my ocean, and like science just hasn't been able to capture it on film yet.
Yeah. You maybe when you're 40.
I don't know when it's going to happen, but I almost feel like I should preemptively go to therapy.
Yeah, to get the squid.
Yeah, just to find it.
Yeah.
I really do feel, sometimes I'll feel bad, like, why am I fucked up? I'm a comedian. I should be more fucked up, right?
Well, you're a little fucked up.
I'm a little fucked. I mean, I'm fat. I can't stop eating. I'm trying to,
when did that start?
I don't, like when I was like 12, 13.
You just can't stop eating?
I just started packing it on. Yeah.
But you're one of those guys. I can't picture you thin.
It's hard. It would be hard to be thin.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be like Hollywood fat.
Yeah.
Which I'm getting, I'm kind of there already, but like I just want to be healthier. I don't want to end up like you. I mean, John Panette just died.
Panette lived life to its fullest, though.
He did. It wasn't just food with him.
No.
But you don't see too many old fat comedians, and that worries me. You see like 50s comedians, but the 50s fat was like they were 170 pounds.
Right. Well, you see old fat comedians that got the operation, or they look like they're half the people they used to be.
If I lose this weight, I got to do it before like 35, where people where you get that weird I used to be fat neck.
Yeah.
You can't be funny with that. It's not funny.
It's funnier to be fat.
It's funnier to be fat.
I used to be fat neck.
That I used to be fat. It's the worst. And they'll wear form-fitting clothes too because they're so excited about their new body.
Yeah, everybody that sees them that knows them thinks they must be sick.
Yeah.
And they feel great.
God, what happened?
Yeah. They're like, no, nothing happened. I'm a new man. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, when you can see a fat person's bones, you automatically assume
something went wrong. Yeah, maybe you might want to add that part of your colon back.
I need to get like Jonah Hill right now fat.
Yeah. He's pretty. He carries it pretty well.
He does pretty good with it.
So, all right. So you grow up. You're always a pretty gregarious kid, and people like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got the feeling from you that people like you.
People seem to like me. Yeah. I like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, I'll talk shit. Mm-hmm. You'll get together with Funches or other friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And you'll sit around and talk shit.
I got to talk to Funches.
You should talk to Funches.
I think we got it on the books.
I think you do have it on the books.
Yeah. So, all right. So when does what is the decision making process around being funny? So you end up playing football.
I played football.
But you're like one of those football guys. You had free reign. You weren't a jock.
No way. The weird thing about my high school football team is none of the good football players were jocks. Like our quarterback was in like AP classes.
Yeah.
And just a super smart kind of dull,
Yeah.
smart guy.
Yeah.
And, like, I was good, mostly because I was gigantic, but
What
I hung
position?
out. I was a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I hung out with some of the football players and then with just kind of nerds, but not really nerds the way, they weren't like programming computers or anything like that. There's no good word
Just
for them. Just kind of misfits, dudes who were just
misfits that weren't fuck ups.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
We need a word for that kind of person. Maybe just humans. Yeah, one of them was like into skateboarding. The other one, like he would play his guitar, and then a couple of my other friends were those kind of people also on the football team.
Yeah.
Because it was something to do. Fucked up my knee senior year of high school.
Yeah.
And then, like, I could have played in college, but I could have played at like a bad college, so I just decided not to. Just to not play. And then went off to college. I went to Southern Oregon University for 1 year.
Yeah.
Which is in Ashland, Oregon.
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful town, but it's a weird place to go when you're like 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, I feel like I've been there.
They do a Shakespeare festival there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's gorgeous, but, then I transferred like 1 year later and got to Portland State University.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no idea what I wanted to do. Really, like I was going to become a lawyer, but the closer I got to that becoming a reality, the more I realized, like, oh, this is fucked. I don't want to do any of this. And my dad sat me down one time, and this was like first or second year in college, and he told me, he's like, don't become a lawyer.
Yeah.
Like it makes me very unhappy, like in my personal life.
Well, he sat you down and said that?
He said that to me. He knew I wanted to become a lawyer, and he said that to me. Before I even had any designs of becoming a comedian, he just told me, like...
This is when when his illusions were shattered.
Yeah. And he was like, well, he's stuck doing it. He'd much rather be, like, I don't know, the things you do when you're kind of frustrated with your career. Like, I'd rather open a restaurant or become an author or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
so he did you that service.
He did. He sat me down and said, "Don't become a lawyer."
Why were you thinking about becoming a lawyer?
I think honestly because it was an impressive answer that I gave when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else was like, "I want to be a cop. I want to be a fireman."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "I'd like to be an attorney."
Yeah.
And like all these guys were, "Oh, what a 9-year-old!"
And your dad was an attorney.
And he was an attorney.
So you figured, why not? I did that. My dad was a doctor. I'll be a doctor.
And you wanted to become right?
Yeah, but then you're like, oh, what the fuck?
I couldn't. Could you imagine doing anything even remotely close to that?
Well, I mean, I wish I had the fortitude to do it or the passion for it. I mean, it's sort of like, would I be happier, saving lives, than sitting in my garage? I don't know. But you live with these people. That's the weird thing is like, when you live with a doctor, you're like, well, he's never home.
Never.
And, and he's distracted. And, he's got his own issues. But it's nice that your father actually was it sort of like, listen, kid.
We were at dinner, and it was kind of that, like, I think I was talking about class or something like that, and just kind of a very real moment of, like, don't go into, I know you're thinking about it, don't. And maybe that's one of those things where you're like, well, if he really wants to do it, he'll keep doing it anyway.
Right.
But it helped me realize that I didn't really want to do it.
And what year was that?
This was, I think, my second year of college, right before I took that improv class.
Yeah.
I think that was my third year of college.
Yeah.
Of 5. But yeah, that made me realize, like, made me really think about it. And then I was kind of lost for a while. I didn't really know. I mean, once I started getting into comedy, that felt
like after college though, or in college?
This is in college when I started doing improv, and making people laugh. I'd always liked comedy. Like I grew up listening to it. I would like fall asleep to like George Carlin. Albums or Chris Rock or Eddie Izzard. Yeah. I would put it on and like fall asleep to it. I'd watch it whenever it was on TV, but it never seemed like a realistic. It just didn't seem like a thing that you could do. Yeah. I didn't know how these people got into it, but it just seemed fucking like absurd. Yeah. That was the thing you could do. It didn't seem realistic.
Not a good job choice.
Not a good and I mean the funny thing is it turned out to be smarter than being a lawyer, but like yeah, it just seemed unrealistic. And then, like, when I started taking those comedy classes, I was like, oh, I can make people laugh? Yeah. And, like, it's instant approval. And then, like, you start doing little shows and I was still in my, like, mid-early 20s, so I started, like, well, I'm going to pursue this and see how it goes.
So, but how'd you, like, foray into it? I mean, you did the improv shows and your uncle was supportive, but, I mean, how do you make the leap?
I really liked improv and I started, like, working with groups, and then I got tired of being in Portland, and one day I just decided I was going to move to Los Angeles. I lived here once before,
Really?
Yeah, about 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago. I think, yeah, I was like 25, 24.
So you hadn't done comedy yet?
I hadn't done stand-up.
Right, so you come down, you're like...
I moved down to take 8 classes with the Groundlings.
Yeah.
I moved to South Central Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Not even knowing.
Yeah.
That's where, like...
So you had no friends here, you didn't know anything?
I didn't know a single soul
and
here.
You're just sort of like, where does someone live here?
I threw all my shit in my car and drove down, and I was staying in, like, I cashed in my bar mitzvah money.
Wow.
Which ended up being about like $7,000.
It seems so much more when you're younger.
It doesn't it? And then you're like $7,000. That's gonna last me like, yeah, I better figure shit out in a couple months. Yeah. I threw all my stuff in my car. I drove down, stayed in hotels, for the first 4 or 5 nights, and I was on like there was like an internet cafe on Melrose near the Groundlings, because I just stayed near there because that was the only thing that I knew I had to be close to.
And you got into the classes?
I got into the classes, yeah. And I was finding, like, on Craigslist, trying to find people to live with. And eventually these people, they were like, yeah, we'd like to interview you. And then my mom called them and talked them into taking me in. And then I moved in and I signed the lease, and I was like, this looks like kind of a rough neighborhood. And then they told me, like, oh yeah, you live in South Central. And I knew about from all the rap songs that I'd listened to.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck. And then it started, all these like things I'd seen started those people with like blue bandanas, those weren't hipsters at all. Those were like Crips,
Yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't like terrible South Central, but it was right on like the edge of it.
Yeah.
These people went to USC.
Yeah.
The people I lived with.
Yeah.
But that was still like 5-6 miles away.
Right. Well, that's right in South Central, right?
Right there in South Central. And this was even south and centraler than that. So that was and then I stayed there a year. I took I took level 1 and level 2 at the Groundlings. And then they were like, okay, it'll be like a year and a half until you can get into the writing lab, which was the 4th part of it. And while I was in LA, I tried stand-up.
Where?
At the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
I had, like, doing bringer shows.
Well, what happened? How'd you hit the wall here? What made you leave?
I couldn't, like, I was working at a P.F. Chang's in Torrance, California, which is 10 miles south of, like, downtown LA, so it's even farther. And I was doing that and trying to do comedy and I couldn't do the Groundlings for, like, another year and a half. And I was
you're just, like, out at sea.
I was completely adrift. And, like, I didn't know...
It's a fucked up feeling where you're like, you have no way to... How do you get in?
It was so
what the fuck
up.
You do? You're out, like, at a strip mall, working at a P.F. Chang's.
Exactly. In the fashion center is what they called it. It was
in
like,
Torrance.
Shitty strip mall in Torrance. That was and you had to work night shifts, and, like, if you were an actor, that's fine, I guess. You can go to auditions during the day. I wanted to do comedy, but every good comedy night, I have to work, to be able to afford to live here. And, yeah, you do feel completely lost. You feel like you're on the outside of entertainment, and there's no doors. You're just staring up at this wall that goes up as high as you can. And that's what it felt like. Like, I wrote sketches for, like, some website, and, I had a couple of friends from the Groundlings, but we never, even if you put a group together.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go perform? I didn't even know how to, where am I going to go, like, find some bar? Can my 3-person improv group perform here? They would have shot me.
It's so lonely and weird when you've got no idea how to navigate.
It's the loneliest.
This business, and you're in LA, the worst.
It's LA, but when you're doing well and when you're not doing well, it looks like two such different cities.
But you go to Groundlings and you must have been, aware of the history of it.
I was obsessed with the history of it.
Yeah.
People would be like, why is he moving to LA? And I'd be like, well, I'm going to the Groundlings. That's where Will Ferrell and you go down the list of people. And then you get there and you're like, oh, these are improv classes. Well, just like any other place. They're more expensive. The more prestigious people have come through here, but they're still improv classes.
How do you make the cut? You had no idea how, you got into the stage,
You fly down to audition and they pass. I was so nervous about the audition. And then it turns out they pass pretty much everyone who can speak English.
Right.
I think they just do the audition so sex offenders and people with needles can't get
in.
Right,
yeah.
And then you do the first level. There was a person in my first level who barely spoke English. And that's when it really sunk in that I was like, I really blew this up in my head way too much.
Yeah.
And then in the second level, you make the cut after okay, good, you're good.
But how do you get into the tour, into the actual stage company?
There's 4 levels. You have to do the first 2, and then after the first 2, which are just improv, there's usually a pretty long wait to get into the writing lab.
But isn't anyone fast-tracked?
No. No, I don't think so.
When did the heartbreak crash down on you?
Do
you remember the day?
I was like, starting to turn into summer in Los Angeles. I'd been there about a year, and I remembered how beautiful the summers in Portland were. And I remember I went out for this interview for this place that would like clip commercials that like mentioned a movie, and then you would like compile them and send them to the studio. Some weird remora on the bottom of, the Hollywood system. But it paid.
It was just a clipping service, so studios knew that their commercials were being run.
Something like that. Yeah.
You didn't even know. Isn't the weirdest thing? Is like, you take these jobs. Like when I was out here the first time, I had a friend who worked at Canon Films, and they needed script readers where you just do synopsises of the scripts. And I did 4 of those, and that was the end of that.
Right. You're like, what was that? What was I doing?
Yeah. And then I did like some PA work at music video shoots for children's videos. And I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? You have no idea, because like when you're like we are, and I think I feel the same thing. It's like no one prepared us for life.
No, especially not this one.
Right, but a career was not the option because we didn't plan for it.
No, keep like you just hear yes just enough to keep moving forward.
Right, but it's not like, okay, my agenda is to make money. You're like, no, I got this ridiculous dream. I have no fucking clue.
Yes.
I don't even know how to rent an apartment properly or furnish it. And
nothing. I slept on an egg crate mattress. Yeah. Like not even a real mat, like an egg crate from IKEA.
And you just have this dream, and then you go to the Groundlings, and it's sort of like, holy fuck, I just got taken for a ride.
Yeah, completely. And it's not like they lied to me about it, but like I lied to myself.
Right. And so you take this job clipping commercials, and what happened?
I went for the interview, and it was like $40,000 a year or something like that. And I was like, holy fuck. And it's during the day. It's a lot of money. Then I can go out at night. And I can do, I can do more improv. I can see what the stand-up thing is all about. And I didn't get it. And I was like, I'm working at P.F. Chang's.
In Torrance.
And like, I should just go back and get my college degree. I should finish up, because I just dropped out of school.
After your second year?
Yeah, after my, second year. Just dropped out, went to L.A. to pursue
the dream.
The dream. And eventually figured out that the dream wasn't a real thing. And then I told my boss at the Torrance and P.F. Chang's, my grandfather was sick. I had to go back to Portland. Could I transfer to the one in Portland?
Yeah.
And eventually I'll be back. I'll be back like in 6 months.
Yeah, because I love working here.
I love it here. I want to come back to L.A.
Yeah.
I love working at P.F. Chang's, so I transferred to the one in Portland.
They did it?
They did it for me.
Oh.
Lied right to their faces.
Yeah.
And then I worked at that one in Portland and eventually got fired from it.
Yeah. So did you go back to school?
I did. I went back to school and then finished school like after another like 3 years.
And you had this secret LA thing under your belt.
This secret experience.
See, I didn't know about that, and I'm telling you to go, and you never once told me like, oh, I had a.
I know it's like a
bad story down there.
It was a bad experience. I mean, I had fun in those classes, but it was just it made. I like not to be too faux poetic or whatever, but like when you go to a part of LA where you can see a lot of the city, if you're up at like the Griffith Park Observatory and you look out at all the people and the lights and you're like, how many people are fucking failing right now? You look out and like how many people like are just like struggling and like diluting themselves and going to auditions after auditions because somebody told them that they were talented so they could, have sex with them or whatever.
Taste. Yeah, it was stringing you along.
Yeah, and like
till you lose your way back. No, there's no fucking breadcrumbs.
There's no
cookie crumbs, whatever the fuck it is.
It can be depressing, but then when you're doing well, it looks like oh look at all these people,
But you knew that. But the one thing you learned on that trip was like, it's not that it's a lie. It's just that that whatever the access code is. This isn't it.
This isn't it. Showing up here with no connections, with no real experience.
Yeah.
Other than like maybe a talent.
Yeah.
That's
not enough.
That's not it.
Yeah.
You need to go really prepare yourself. And when I got back to Portland, I started writing a lot more. I started doing more stand-up. I tried to do improv, and then I got so frustrated by the people who I was doing it with. Because they were being fair. They didn't want to rehearse 3-4 nights a week because they were people who were going to become a nurse or an accountant. They wanted to go see a movie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? We're never going to be famous. And they're like, I know, we're not going to be famous. Yeah. I'm going to get married and I'm going to live in Beaverton.
I'm just doing this for people skills.
Right, yeah. This was a nice way to meet somebody and now we're dating and I'm kind of not interested in this anymore. And that's what kind of pushed me towards stand-up. And I started getting more and more into stand-up and doing less improv.
Well, what was the scene up there? Who were the guys?
They were, like in Portland, Richard Bain, Ron Funches was up there. Shane Torres, Gabe Dinger, Christine Levine.
So you and Funches and this crew are out doing the open mics.
And it's slowly building the scene up, and we're like, harassing the local newspapers to cover us. And then
weren't you writing for a paper?
I wrote for the Portland Mercury. Yeah. I wrote for the Mercury my last year in Portland. So and that was great. That was a great experience. They gave me first they let me do a tour, a on the road diary doing stand up. And then I wrote an article about Portland, and then they gave me a column so I could do 500 words about whatever I wanted every week. And that was a lot of fun. That helped me really hone my kind of point of view as far as writing goes.
Right. And so you started doing the work, and then when Helium opened up, that's when things changed?
Helium was huge, yeah. I got to open the second week at Helium. It was with Natasha Leggero. I got to MC for her. I was working at Netflix, in the call center at Netflix at the time. The most depressing job I've ever had.
Really?
It was the worst.
Why?
Just people have, because if you're just a voice on the end of a phone, they have no regard for you as a human.
I know. So I'm guilty of that.
I do it too.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing it, I try to remind myself, well, you would never help these people. But if they would be nice to you, I would give people a year free. Yeah. Because it was just a click of a button and no one would ever check.
But what was the call about? Was it complaining about
my disc showed up broken.
Yeah.
I can't get this TV show to play. This anime has subtitles. I want it to be dubbed. Shit like that. People telling you to turn their internet on. People who had no idea what Netflix was. And it was just that for 12 hours a day, 3 days a week.
Yeah.
When Helium opened, I got to go work over there. And then you slowly figure out I can request comedians that I like,
Yeah.
And that's
as a local opener.
As a local opener. I'm like, hey, do you have an MC from Marin yet?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, go ahead. And you, and I opened for Kanane.
Yeah.
And that was huge. And then you pretty much just you two, because Bronger wouldn't play it. So as far as influences, but you get to open for these really cool people.
Yeah.
And then, and I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass, I'm sure you get to see, a different kind of comedic aesthetic, almost more honest than maybe the stuff you even saw on TV coming up in the 90s. And these people are being very funny, but they're talking about the stuff they want to talk about, and they're not doing it in it's not like a setup punch. You can be funny a lot of different ways.
Right.
And that is so important, I think, to see and to be around when you're coming up as a comedian. And what Helium did, and also the Bridgetown Comedy Festival, both of those things brought those kind of comedians. And we, me and Funches and Bane and Gay, all that, and Shane, those people in Portland, got to see those people be successful. And we're like, oh fuck, we can do that too. And then I think we took that and then started building a comedy scene there in Portland. So Helium Helium at Bridgetown changed everything by giving us access to those comedians. And also access to the kind of people who want to buy a ticket to come see you.
Right.
Also, they get to see that I'm here.
Yeah.
Now maybe they see I'm on a show at some bar. They're going to come out to that.
Yeah.
And it started really churning up a kind of a creative comedy scene there in Portland.
Yeah.
And it eventually got to the point I didn't need a day job anymore. I got fired from Netflix, and I could make my money doing comedy in Portland, writing for the newspaper, and then doing stuff. I was on the post-game show for our basketball team.
Mm-hmm. You were? It was a local gig.
Yeah, on the local cable channel.
Oh, yeah.
Which was also eventually why I left, because I was like, I could just keep doing this forever.
Right, and you were a local celebrity.
Yeah, exactly. People, I'd be walking across the street, in shitty basketball shorts, be like, yeah, and I'm like, hello. Don't look, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. I mean, you get a kick out of it, but it's also, I became so aware of the
charm of the prison you might remain in.
Perfect. Perfect. Right, exactly. Yeah. We got a nice poster up here.
That guy just waved at me. I'm getting a free sandwich.
Exactly. I would get free sandwiches all the time. All the time free. I had sandwiches named after me. For a couple years, it's the happiest you could be. You
have your own sandwiches.
You have your own sandwich. I get to go to basketball games for free. It was fucking beautiful. And then you're like, oh, potential eventually rots.
Yeah.
And then you have to move. You get who wants to be a local celebrity?
Yeah.
And you don't do it to be a celebrity. I could have kept exploring, the things I wanted to talk about on stage and having it be a purely artistic or self-satisfaction based pursuit. But there was always something very depressing to me about like the people who stayed and who never went out and tried to
do it.
Yeah.
And you had that in you because you did it once before with no fucking wisdom at all.
None. And then when I knew I could come down here and there would be like people who would like get me on shows, and I had, I got like new faces at Just for Laughs this last summer, and I knew like, okay, now is definitely the right time. Now you have the tools you need to come down here and be able to work hard.
Yeah.
And
when you came down, what happened?
I got I got a panel appearance on Chelsea Lately booked from Just for Laughs in Montreal.
Okay.
And then like about 4 days after I got here, that's when that was. So I went on and did it, and it went well, and they had me in for a meeting the next day or 2 days later.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what the meeting was about. My manager was like, I think they need a new writer, but I don't know. They won't really say what the meeting's about.
Who's your manager?
Kara Baker.
Okay.
At Avalon.
Yeah.
Same company.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. She came and she signed me when I was still in Portland.
Yeah.
So I'll be with her until forever. But, I went in for the meeting, and like I got in there, and it was Chelsea Handler was sitting there, and then the show's executive producers and like the head writer, they were all sitting in there. And I wore cargo shorts. I had no idea. It's pretty much the same outfit I'm wearing now. And I was like, so what's this about? And like they were like, well, we just want to get to know you better. You were on the panel. So then like I got a little less excited. I was like, well, maybe they do this with all the new comedians who come in. Yeah. And we had a meeting. It was like they were very inappropriate during the whole thing. I think at some point they brought up raping my mother.
Yeah.
And I rolled with, I was able to like roll with it and like laugh about it. And then
so they were trying to push your buttons.
They were trying to push my buttons to see if I could fit in. I think with the tenor of their writers' room. Yeah. And then on that Monday, they called me and offered me a writing job there, and I took it like immediately. I had been auditioning for this like for some TV show that's going to be on FXX. I know that was going well, but then this like sure thing came up, and I was like, yes, I'll take I'll do it.
It sounds like you're on your way.
Yeah, I'm having fun,
And so I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah.
When I did that when I was over at Conan with my niece.
Yes. Yeah, you were there when I did
and that was your first Conan.
That was my first
and
late night.
Yeah, and it was like this weird moment because usually like I'm not a cynical person, but I don't wish anybody ill will, but my reaction. When I saw you do it, you were like, I'm doing my first one. I was like proud of you. I was like, I was like, oh God, that's great. And I think I tried to make you feel better. Like,
you did make me feel good. You had very nice, you said it's just like doing a set. You're going to do great. Yeah. You're going to go out there. It's just like doing stand up anyway.
Right. Yeah. Don't think about, that, whatever the thing is you were thinking about. I can't remember what I said, but you were nervous about something.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing, I'd only known for like 2 days that I was going to be doing it. They told me on Friday. And
it went great.
On Monday.
It went great.
It went pretty good. Yeah.
Well, congrats, buddy. I'm glad everything worked out for you, or it's working out now.
It's hopefully it continues. Either way, I can always go back to Portland and be that sad local celebrity, right?
Well, P.F. Chang's.
Yeah, they're always hiring. Yeah, they got a great business model there, Mike.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Great guy. Ian Karmel's a great guy, and it worked out for him. He stuck with it. And he didn't buckle. Had a little bit of a detour, but he went and licked his wounds up in Portland, came back, and now we got him down here, and now he's doing well for himself. Hey, fantasy football players, quit your belly aching. I mean, I don't really know if you're belly aching, but I just imagine it's what people do when they don't do well with fantasy football. Trust me, if I played fantasy football, I'd be the biggest belly acher. There's not even a table to flip over, so I have no idea how I would deal with losing. But you know what you can do instead of belly aching? Get a new team. Even better, get a new team every week. And if you're good enough, you can win your share of $10 million. Go to FanDuel.com where you can play fantasy football for real money. And entry fees start at just $1. There's no season-long commitment, no upfront fees. Play every week or whenever you want. Just pick a new lineup each week and try to win some cash. Go to FanDuel.com and click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner. Use the promo code Maron and sign up now. The new user special is ending soon. If you're new, FanDuel will match your first deposit up to $200. The offer is good for the first 50 people that use the code Maron. Every week is a new season at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com. Use the offer code Maron, M-A-R-O-N. Okay? Do it up. Do it. Go win some money. So Funches, what can you say about Funches? What can you say about Ron Funches? He's almost like a mythological creature. You know, he's a sweet guy. I mean, like, I'm a little cranky, and I remember one time Funches, I don't know, I think we were on Twitter. He asked me, he said, "You want to go get some ice cream?" Who was involved with that? Emily Kumel's wife, and I think Shelby Farrow. For some reason, we were just dicking around on Twitter, and it was like, "You want to get ice cream?" Yeah, I want to get ice cream. Let's go down to Scoops down the street. And sure enough, we all went and had ice cream. And I'll tell you, having ice cream with Ron Funches it's definitely a highlight. It was a highlight. He's a sweetheart. And he's got his own groove and his own pace and his own way of doing comedy. It's rare that you see somebody with a unique delivery and a unique sort of presence up there, but Ron's got it, and I got him here now. So this is my conversation with Ron Funches. Portland Day continues here. Ron Funches.
I'm Ron.
Why is it that whenever I come in touch with you, when I come in contact with you, I get edgy. I can't handle the pleasantness of the Ron Funches.
I thought you enjoyed it.
No, I do enjoy it, but there's part of me that's sort of like, what's going on with that guy? What's he hiding? Why is he so pleasant? There's got to be some problem there. He can't be this nice all the time.
Oh, it's not all the time. I have my own battles.
You do? Really?
Yeah.
Do you yell?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know this about you. Every time I've seen you, we've eaten ice cream.
Yeah.
We've done some stand-up.
It's usually stand-up and ice cream. That's our relationship as I'm aware
as
of
it stands now. And me trying to get you to be nasty. So, you don't live down the street anymore?
No. I used to live in a room in Highland Park, and now I live in a house in Glendale with Ian Karmel.
You and Ian live together?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a powerhouse of Portland comedy.
Yeah,
it's a classic setup. The large black man, the large Jew.
Yeah, classic Def Jam. We're making our own record company.
Third Base Man. Wasn't that the name of the Jewish guy?
Yeah,
the one Jewish
MC
rapper.
Search.
Yeah. How's that guy doing?
I think he was hosting a show for VH1 a couple years ago.
That's not a good sign. That doesn't mean positive things. How'd you end up in Portland?
I ended up in Portland. I was born here in California in Gardena.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And you moved up there when you were a kid?
No, I moved to Chicago first when I was a kid. My mom and dad got divorced. And
how old were you when that happened?
4.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How was that for you?
I mean, it was 4, so I don't really remember it.
So who'd you end up with, your mom?
Yeah.
And so your dad just he stay in California?
Yeah.
And you went to Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
And your mom, she have work up there?
No, she had family there.
Mm.
So we lived with my aunt and her daughter.
For how long?
For a few years, for several years.
So you were in Chicago till when?
Until I was 13.
So you remember it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have one full sister, have some half sisters and brothers that I don't really count. But
yeah. Oh,
I have
really?
one full sister.
Brothers that you don't count?
Yeah.
Whose kids are they?
My dad's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You guys, you're just half brothers.
I just didn't have them around me.
Are they Funches?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Y'all kept the name.
Yeah.
Do you know the other Funches?
I know a few of them, yeah.
How many are there?
I think my dad has 5 kids.
Really?
Yeah, so.
Do you know your dad?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You get along with him?
No.
Not at all. That was condescending of me to say, do you know your dad?
Was it slightly, was it racial?
Well, you know.
I just thought it was generational.
You know, the having the lots of kids and, taking off, that kind of thing. You know how that
That's
goes.
what I did.
We get to that. So you're in Chicago till you're 13, and then your mom goes to Portland. Why? Because was there a quota?
One in, one out. No. Well, my dad got back in touch. My dad had a drug problem for a while, and then
which drug?
I'm assuming a few, but mostly cocaine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's why your parents split up because of the drugs. So your mom was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to Chicago with the kids. Well, if you get your shit together, give me a call."
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he didn't call for several years.
Yeah, he wanted to really finish up whatever he was working on.
It's a business too.
Yeah.
But he started getting in touch a little bit later, and he was going to Portland to work in construction, and Chicago wasn't working out too well for me. My mom had like a boyfriend that was kind of abusive, and
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
General abuse.
Beating the shit out of you?
Yeah. Well, a lot of different things.
She sent you off to live with your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is she still with that dude?
No. Mm-mm.
How long they didn't get married?
No, luckily they didn't get married.
Now, is your mom still around?
Yeah, my mom and my sister live together in North Carolina. My sister's a OBGYN, and my mom is a registered nurse, and they hang out like some type of sitcom.
So she's a doctor.
She's a doctor.
And your mom's a nurse?
My mom's a nurse.
That's a good story. So you just ended up in Portland with your pop?
Yeah, with my dad.
At 14?
At 13.
Yeah.
In this place actually called Salem, Oregon, which is the capital of Oregon.
Uh-huh.
So it's like an hour away.
There's not many black people in Oregon.
Nope.
Why is that? Did you speak for the entire black community?
I think I can.
Portland, please?
I will.
Yeah.
Well, it's a segregated city. There's a lot of people, black people in North Portland.
There are?
Yeah, there's a lot of, there was a movement of people who would be in gangs here in Los Angeles or Oakland and stuff. If they got in trouble, they would send them to
Portland.
Yeah.
No jail, Portland.
Yeah, well, they're trying to avoid jail by going to Portland.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a real thing?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, people who fucked up here, they go hide in Portland.
Yeah.
But
that's just Portland in a nutshell, right? Like, just
that's for everybody.
Yeah.
When everything else is, when there's nowhere else to go
to Portland.
Go to Portland.
Yeah.
If things get too weird, go to Portland.
If you're
too fucking weird,
go to Portland.
I always felt weird up there, though. I think there's a weird energy to it.
Yeah, I think because you have an aggressiveness to you that you want to get things done, and it is more of a relaxed, whatever vibe to Portland.
Yeah, but I think there's a creepy white vibe to Portland. Is that possible? I'm not speaking as a black man.
It's as far as it's full of white people.
Yeah.
It's definitely full of white people. And improv, those are two white things. And so it's definitely a place full of white people. But I love it. It's a great place, a good place for me to start comedy and be my weird self. So
yeah. What did your dad end up doing? Just construction?
Yeah, works pipe fitting. He has more kids. He's got his own things going on. We don't really talk that much.
You don't?
No.
Why?
It just was never a positive influence for me. Like anything that I wanted to do. Like he wasn't there to parent me, but he still wants to, then offer advice.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was like, wants me to be a super Christian. Like he wants me,
Oh, really? He's one of them?
He's one of those.
When did that come around? After the drugs left?
Yeah, of course. You gotta always replace one thing with another.
Yeah, replace Coke with Jesus. I think that's the slogan. That should be a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
No Coke, Jesus.
Yeah, for either. If you want to get off soda or get off drugs, either way.
Fill that hole with Jesus.
Exactly.
So he's Jesus-y.
He's Jesus-y. He still makes his own mistakes with ladies. He just hangs out with, like, my mom's side, there's always two halves. Like, my mom's side of the family has a lot of doctors, lawyers, things of that nature. My dad's side of the family has a lot of people who say they're rappers but are really gang members. So it was just became a thing where it was like, for me to, especially if I'm going to live here in California, I was like, I don't really want to have contact with that side of my family.
Oh, really? They're that connected?
They're not that connected, but there's nothing positive that's going to come from hanging out with them.
Right. There's nothing positive from your dad going, why don't you call your cousin?
Yeah. Hanging out with them and then hang out there, and then I go see them, and they're like, I got a new album coming out. And I'm like, let me hear it. And they're like, we don't have any copies. Is there a place on the internet I can go listen to your music? No, I don't really. But, I got all this money, and I say I'm a rapper.
So you want a job?
Yeah.
Can you go drop this off at this place?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
had you come down here before this last time?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, because I talked to Ian, and I didn't realize he had this secret
when he lived and worked at Chinese food restaurants.
The secret attempt at show business back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did you do that?
No, I always wanted to, but I was super broke, so I just never could. I think, luckily, me being very poor kept me in place and focused and let me work on my
Well, when did you start doing that, the stand-up?
I started when I was 23, so...
So wait, so you get up to Portland when you're like 14, and that's like 9 years before you start doing stand-up. What the fuck were you up to? Just high school? Regular
just
shit?
high school, and then out of the high school, just hanging out on dirty mattresses, taking gravity bong hits all day, just...
Gravity bong hits, is that those are the tall ones?
But like the 2 liters, 3 liters, we would take these giant Gatorade bottles that are like 3.75 liters. And just take 2 of those in a day and then take a nap and then wake up and do it again. It's just not a fun way to live.
No. So you did that from 14 to 23?
For the most part. Working at canneries or Chuck E. Cheese.
Canneries? What's canneries?
Where you can groceries or can beans and broccoli and stuff at a factory.
You put it in cans?
Mm-hmm.
They have those in Portland?
Yeah. Well, they had them in Oregon. Yeah, in Salem.
Is that? I didn't know it was known for that. They're known for being cannery places?
Yeah, they have like a Flavor Right, any type of frozen peas place.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's where they come from?
Mm-hmm.
And did you, would you operate machinery?
No, never. I would just have to pick out stalks of broccoli and put them in a chute and avoid putting my fingers close to blades. And then one day my job was to pick out, like rats and snakes out of the stuff.
Man.
And yeah, that was the last day I went.
Come on, man. Out of the vegetables?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Dead ones?
Yeah.
Well, because they'd steam
Because
them?
they just kind of get rooted up. They're not like plucked out by individual farmers, They're just put all together. And so when they're originally dumped, they're just dirt and rocks and vegetables and dead rodents.
Really?
I let a lot of rats go through.
You did not?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not. You just think, do I look like a person that touched a lot of rats?
No.
No.
No, so you just go like, there's one. And that's what you'd report back?
Yeah, I saw a few.
I'm not sure what you wanted me to do about it.
But it's definitely going on.
Snakes, too?
Yeah, rats, snakes.
How long did you stay at that job, man?
Not that long. It took for a few months, and then one day there was a particularly good episode of wrestling on, and I was working there with my friend, and I was just like, you just want to quit? Like, let's just not go. I don't want to go pick out rats.
And that was that?
That was it.
And you watched the wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
You're a wrestling fan?
Mm-hmm.
From when you were a little kid?
Yeah, we'd go with my uncle. I think, because he was like my father figure, so it would...
Your mother's brother?
Yep.
You'd go in Chicago?
Mm-hmm. So
Who'd you see?
We'd go see Hulk Hogan versus Earthquake. We'd go see, like, the Road Warriors. We'd just go to different house events.
Do you still watch wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because I like it. Because it's fun.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because it's a spectacle. I go to this wrestling in Reseda called Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. It's like fun. It's like the Meltdown, like Meltdown, the
Comedy.
show.
Yeah.
It's
For
like
wrestling.
that for wrestling. Yeah.
It's like alt wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
Like Colt Cabana?
Yeah. Well, Colt. Yeah.
I met Colt.
Yeah.
That circuit?
Yeah.
The sort of like purists?
Yeah, the purists, I just feel like, as a comedian, there's nothing I understand more than somebody throwing themselves through a table for like $25. Like, I know that feeling. So, like, I dig it 100%.
And knowing that it's completely planned?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw myself through that table now.
Yeah, that seems better to me. What type of psychopath wants that to be real? You know? Like, you're a weirdo. You're the type of people that wants to watch a gladiator getting eaten by a lion.
Yeah, it's better if it's a controlled environment.
Yeah, there's a gladiator and a lion.
They're willing to be hurt as much as they are being hurt.
Yeah.
Was there ever a point where you wanted to wrestle?
Yeah, for sure.
Why don't you? That's never too late.
Never been athletic in my life, so there's no way that's gonna happen.
But I've seen some wrestlers; they're not necessarily athletic.
Yeah, if I was born in a different era, I could be a talker. I could be a good manager. Probably.
Yeah, well, is that part of the wrestling thing? The manager?
The manager was. It's not much anymore.
What did they used to do?
Well, they used to just come in and they would talk for the people who couldn't talk, and they would get people to hate them. And then, like, the whole thing would be like, you want this guy to get hit so bad that you'd go buy tickets to go see.
That was part of the pitch. That was part of the theater. The manager guy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You would have been a good manager. I see it in your face.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to go. I could be your manager.
Just do it. But then now I got to wrestle?
No, but the angle would be like, this guy's out of shape. And he's real nice. Who doesn't want to see his ass get kicked? I'm tired of it. Just for being out of shape and nice. This guy's going down. He can't wrestle. All he can do is just stand up. He's really good at holding his ground.
That's true.
Come on, who wants to kick his ass?
Line around the corner.
Oh. Did you ever get your ass kicked?
Yeah, sure.
For what?
For being me. For the same reasons why you kind of want to kick my ass a little bit.
Really?
Is that I'm always been this, like, why are you so happy? Why are you...
Yeah,
don't you know the world's shitty?
Yeah, let's rain on that guy's parade.
Yeah.
Are you happy or are you just high?
I'm both. But for the most part, I'm happy. Because, like, why wouldn't I be happy? Like, my life's pretty awesome. I do fun things.
Yeah.
I know what I want to do for my life. I feel like that in itself is the ultimate blessing. I know so many people I talked to my aunt one day, and she was talking about shooting a show. And she was like, you like your job? And I was like, I love it. She's like, you probably go to work early. And I was like, yeah, I go to work early every day. And then she's like, so you just, like, love it, and you feel like you don't work. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I've never felt like that ever. And I was like, and she's like 60-something years old.
That's
so like,
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you kind of smoke your way through high school. Did you finish?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't remember much.
I remember it. I was there. It was mostly me just sitting in front of lockers reading Salinger or Moliere and not getting dates, and then being like, if I'm not gonna get dates or go hang out with people, I might as well smoke pot with my friends.
No dates?
No.
Sad life? A little bit sad?
Yeah, I guess so.
Salinger and Moliere. Those were the two things that you remember from high school?
I remember Salinger, I remember Moliere, I remember reading All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah.
Those are things that impacted me.
Really?
Yeah.
How did All Quiet on the Western Front impact you?
It just really shaped, like, my views on war and just treating people as individuals, and remember that they have the same desires and wants and fears that you do.
And Moliere?
Moliere was more about being truthful and the difference between being an asshole and being truthful, and knowing when to, smooth the situation and when to die on the sword of honesty.
Huh. And Salinger?
Salinger was just like everybody's fucked up.
And that's your trinity.
Yeah.
That was the blueprint.
Yeah, we're all fucked up, treat everybody cool, and everybody is afraid of dying just like you are.
Nice. Just 3 books.
Yeah,
there they are.
That's all I ever read.
So you didn't go to college?
No, I went to community college for a couple weeks, and then I hated it, and so I just dropped out of that.
What was your plan there?
I never had a plan. I always kind of just loved comedy and knew I wanted to be a stand-up. I knew I wanted to be a stand-up since I was like 6 years old.
What moment? Who was it?
There's a few different moments, but as far as like comedy in general, it was like, I grew up in a house that was kind of violent or weird or loud, and I would just watch a lot of, after cartoons, I'd watch a lot of Benny Hill and then I Love Lucy. Wow. And so...
surprising that you're not, running around quickly or making pies.
I can do a little of both for a very short amount of time.
Those are 2 sort of very slapsticky points of reference.
Yeah, but just fun. They were fun.
Yeah.
And so I kind of fell in love with that, and particularly like Lucy. Like I've always been a big fan of.
Because it's relief from the anger in the house.
Yeah, and just calm and fun and just Just nice. It was just a good, funny show that took me away from what was going on there.
Did you like have guys that you really liked? Or?
Oh yeah,
like
of course. When it first started, like I was really into, like my mom would just watch Comic View.
Yeah.
So I'd watch like Earthquake and like
Earthquake. Yeah.
Honest John.
Yeah.
And stuff
Bruce.
like that. Bruce. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Talent. Yeah.
And so that was my initial, like, oh, people are funny. But then as I started getting into comedy, it was really Dave Chappelle and Mitch Hedberg for me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you see Hedberg?
No, I've never got to see him live. I've talked to a lot of people who worked with him and talk about him. I was just a big fan of his work.
And Chappelle? Did you ever see him?
Yeah, I got to do a show with him in Montreal last year, and so that was a big deal for me.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
How was he?
He was good. I really liked this place where he's like, I have a lot of talent, I have a lot of experience, and I do not have the desire to prove anything to you. And I definitely still, when I go out and do shows, am like proving that I'm funny. And so I'm like, I was like really interested into seeing that.
But you're pretty laid back.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't feel like you're fighting for it.
No. Mostly, I'm just kind of like, come visit what I'm about. And if you're not into it, then I'm kind of like, fuck you. I'll prove to you that I'm dope, even if you think I'm a weirdo.
Oh, really? Did you have that early on, or did that come from
that's my
getting
life.
hurt?
Yeah, of course, Mark.
I mean,
it's not hard to find traumas with me. I will openly share them with you.
But I mean, like the idea, like, because I know people that I'm always envious of people that have a kind of laid back groove, because I usually, it's either two things: either it's hard earned or they just don't have another speed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But you're conscious. Like, at what point did you decide? Because I still, it took me years to be able to say, like, well, if I'm not your cup of tea, so be it. It's your mistake. You can leave if you want to, or try to get them. But I mean, it took years for me to be comfortable with that. Like, it was years of like, fuck you for not liking me. Mm-hmm. You didn't have that?
No, that was probably instilled in me at a young age. Like, I remember my first day of school, my mom was just being like, hey, like, some kids are gonna like you, some kids are not gonna like you for who you are. Don't ever change who you are for them. Just like, if kids like you, cool. If they don't, fuck them.
She said that? Mm-hmm. God damn. I wish I had your mom.
She made her own mistakes. But she's like, pretty awesome.
I can't remember any good advice I got like that. I literally had to learn all of it. I'm not even sure my parents spoke in that manner. I think my parents are more like, we don't know what to do, really. Good luck with everything. If somebody hurts you, you can come home. And we'll all feel bad together.
We'll figure it out together.
Yeah, I got no real advice for you. I'm not sure how it all happened with us. Damn, good advice.
Yeah, I felt like it was solid. So, I carry that with me. Like, I know I just never gonna change who I am for someone else.
Yeah.
So,
God, that's good, man. Good for you. I don't have that.
Why not?
I try to accommodate people.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I don't seem like that, but like in relationships and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can be like that too, for sure.
But then you just build anger up.
Yeah.
Because you're like, eventually you're like, I can't change that person.
Yeah. Well, no, you can never change a person. You can never. Whoever they introduce themselves as is who they're gonna be.
But don't you think people can change?
People can evolve.
But
people never change.
Evolve. What's the difference?
Well, evolving means that they still have their standard base. You know where you can see where they're coming from. It's like, you're not going to change a 180.
The wiring, right.
Yeah.
Who they are is who they are.
Yeah.
But they might be able
to
learn. Different decisions for themselves. And that would make your life easier. Look, I know you are who you are, but if you could not do that, that would be helpful.
It would be helpful.
That's evolving. I want you to evolve into not doing that. I want to change you. You're perfect the way you are, but that choice you're making over and over again hurts me.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a lesson I learned from my mom the hard way with the guy she was dating. Is that's what she was hoping, is that she could change him.
Yeah. How long were they together?
I don't know, like 8 years, 9 years.
So it was fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, man. She seems like she did all right. Your sister did all right. The guy he didn't make a complete mess out of it.
No, I mean...
Maybe just you. 'Cause you were the man.
Just a mess out of me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have a brother, right?
No.
It was you and how many sisters? One, two?
One sister, one girl cousin.
Right.
Just all girls, though.
Right, so you were the one that he had to,
We had battles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. I can't imagine you in battle. Was there a time where you had an edge?
Yeah, certainly.
Were you just fucking raging out at the world?
Yeah.
And that went away?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably, early 20s, mid-20s, just listening to a lot of Dead Prez and the coup, and just wanting to destroy the government, and I think that's what me and my ex bonded over, was our hatred of everything else around us.
So when you guys met, it was a lot of anger.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And you just sit there and just talk shit about the world?
Pretty much, and then just, hating on, just focus that on everybody else, and then eventually on each other. And
then you had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of all that rage, you had a baby. Was that intentional?
No, of course not.
Oh. And she wanted to have it.
Yeah, we had,
Were you married when you...
No.
No?
But we had been together for a long enough that we were like, we can have this baby. And he's the best. He's been the best thing in my life for sure.
What's his name?
Malcolm.
Mm-hmm. And how old is he now?
He is 11 years old.
Wow.
I know.
And when did you and her separate?
We separated 2 years ago, about.
Yeah? When you left?
A little bit before I left, yeah.
So what, now, I know the baby's difficult, right?
What do you mean by that, Mark?
Well, I've talked to you before. I've heard you mention the baby. We talked about it on the live podcast.
Yeah. Well, he's a kid now. He's no baby. He's almost a man. He has autism. If that's I'm assuming that's what you mean by that.
And how does that manifest itself? How did you know that?
We thought he was deaf. We thought because he just wouldn't respond to things when you called him or when you made noises.
Well, that must be horrible because how old are you? 20 when you have the kid?
Mm-hmm. 20. Yeah.
20, and you don't have a lot of money.
Nope.
You make a decision to have this kid.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a hard decision to make, or was that just a no-brainer?
No, it was a pretty difficult decision to make. But it was also we've been together for a while. At the time, we loved each other very much, and so I was like, let's have this kid. We're not. I'll go get a better job. I'll go do whatever it takes.
Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
What'd you do when you had the kid? Where'd you work?
I worked at a bank call center for Wachovia Bank, which is now Wells Fargo.
Oh, they're not the same since they changed over.
No, they really changed.
So you're going to work every day and you're not doing comedy yet?
No.
You're just going to work, hating your life.
Yep.
But you got a baby.
Buying a lot of stuff that I don't need.
Yeah.
Wondering why I'm not happy.
Yeah. But, so the kid, you think he can't hear and you bring him to the doctor.
Mm-hmm. So we bring him to the doctor and we get a lot that he can hear.
Yeah.
And so they were like, well, we need to do some more tests on him. They do some tests on him. This is when he's about 2 years old. And they were like, yeah, he has classic autism.
What does that mean?
So basically for him and for a lot of it means like nonverbal, an aversion to certain textures and noises and lights and, just, developmental delays, and things of that nature.
So now you got a job you don't like, and you got a kid that's got some problems. Mm-hmm. Life is hard.
Yeah.
And what do you do with a kid that has that? How'd you learn how to deal with it?
Well, once we knew, it became a lot easier.
Yeah.
The hardest part was just being like, what's wrong? What's going on? He won't sleep. He would sleep from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. 7 days a week, and that was it.
And then he'd be up. Doing what?
Singing.
Oh, really?
Singing the Jungle Book.
Oh, that's pleasant.
It's pleasant for a few hours.
So he was on repeat.
Yeah,
on the Jungle Book.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. That's STEM behavior, right?
Yep.
STEM behavior is that they repeat. They find things that they can repeat and comfort them.
Yeah, and he would repeat several. He would watch the Jungle Book on VCR and just repeat scenes over and over and over.
Okay. Is there a way to sort of move new things into the STEM rotation?
Yeah, I mean, you introduce things and you add things, but it's also very, rigid. You want him to freak out.
Oh, really?
So it becomes a battle of what you're willing to deal with.
And over time, does this? How's it? Has he? I don't know if the word has gotten better, or how does that work?
Yeah, he's
autism?
definitely. I mean, it'll always be a thing, but he's very independent. He's not nonverbal, but he's not completely verbal. He does a lot of mimicking. He's very good at typing, though. He's always been on the internet and typing things out on computers since he was 2.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So they have a profound focus and intelligence for some things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get it.
I kind of
So
get
there's
it.
certain things where they're really awesome at. There's certain things that he's normal at, and there's certain things that he has trouble with.
Uh-huh. And all those things have remained the same throughout?
Pretty much. He's always, he loves cars, racing, computers. Doesn't care for baths or
What was the hardest thing sort of in terms of dealing with it?
other people
Judging?
Yeah, other people judging. Why are you so tired all the time? Why is your house a mess? Why do you always give in to everything he wants? Because he'll, if he wants something, he wants it, he needs it, and he will attack you or throw fits until he gets it. And so you learn to pick your battles. And so, there's several times where people thought we were kidnapping him because he would just wig out because we couldn't afford to buy him something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
So but that's what people assume, whose child is that?
Yeah, whose kid is that going off?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to get in any fights or anything over that shit?
With him or with people?
With people.
No, not with people. We had the cops called, a few times. That was the most.
Because he's making noise?
Yeah.
God, that's hard, man.
Yeah. Even now, if I go visit him or if we go somewhere together in a hotel, I have to, let them know ahead of time. Just be don't put us near somebody else.
Do you have a bungalow situation? Yeah. Is there a cottage?
When you come up to tell us about a noise complaint, I'm not going to be nice to you.
That's a hell of a burden to have. But I imagine that the relationship, you start to understand each other, huh?
Yeah. That's been, that's the coolest part of it was learning I don't have to talk. Talking's overrated. I can hang out with you all day and not talk and we can get things done, and I know what you want for dinner and I know what you're asking me off of glances or different things. And again, he was the one where I always knew I wanted to be a comedian. I always knew what I wanted and I was afraid and I didn't think that it was normal or possible. And having him was for two reasons. I was hey, he's not going to be a typical normal kid and I have to defend that. So I should be able to defend what I'm about. And then also it was I'm going to need to make money. And I don't want to put him in a home, and I know I'm not going to be alive forever, and he may need care forever. And so it was I have to do something. So I either have to go back to college and figure out something that I like, or I need to really do this thing that I feel that I have a calling for, which, even looking back now, knowing that it's kind of working out, still sounds stupid. But
it's a hell of a decision to make.
Yeah.
And your wife was okay with it, or?
Yeah, well, she just knew that it was what I wanted to do, and that it was that's what we did, was just watch comedy and talk about comedy.
Did she do stand-up?
No. No, she just is a regular lady. She writes some funny things. She's a funny person, but she's a civilian.
God, that's a hell of a choice, man. So you already had the kid when you started comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your first night on stage like? I mean, where was that at?
I was at Harvey's in Portland.
Yeah.
And it was I mean, I think I just did 5 minutes talking about man boobs and stuff of that nature. It was just a horrible comedy.
Yeah.
But the buzz, like, was a
You
high.
got it.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
no, this was right.
Yeah. And that was always a fear of, like, what is this thing that I think is my calling? Oh, what if I'm wrong? And then I don't know what I want to do at all. And so that kept me frozen for a while. And then that night, and just being like, no, this is, it might take me a long time, or I might never get what I want, but this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Holy shit. And then you just started making the rounds in Portland?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, who are you guys hanging out with? Was Ian?
Ian didn't come for a couple of years later. This is probably when he was here slinging Panda Express and whatnot. But it was me, Augie Smith, my friend Richard Bain, and just Dax Jordan, just a lot of Portlandy. Dwight Slade, I don't know if you know him.
Sure.
But yeah, those are like the people who I looked up to. Podcast was my thing when that's how I would, because I was like, oh, this is what I want to be. I'm not really competing with some of these people in Portland who kind of are just doing it for attention or for a hobby.
What, comedy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like the people that I like was always like I was always into like Hannibal, Whippy Holmes, or things like that. And then
you knew those guys already?
I mean, I was aware of them for sure. Mulaney, yeah.
How'd you know them?
I just a fan of comedy.
Wow. All right. So, but they're they're your generation, aren't they?
Yeah. But I didn't, I've only met a lot of them a few years ago.
Where'd you first see those guys?
I think the first time I saw Hannibal and Pete was at Bumbershoot. The first year I did Bumbershoot.
Okay.
And so I was doing like the local stages there and doing some of the after party shows. And I think I got to like close out the set there. So it's like Pete, Hannibal, Hari, Kondabolu, and then me. And like nobody knew who I was. And so like I had a good set.
I think I was there that year.
I think you were too.
Yeah. So that was the first time you're like, oh, this is my peer group. Mm-hmm. Like they come from Chicago, New York. I'm Portland. Mm-hmm. Because you're about the same age, aren't you?
Yeah.
How old are you now?
31.
Oh, they might be a little older now.
Mm-hmm. A few years older.
So that must have been big. So that was the big sort of like, that was the moment where you realized I could fit into this world.
Yeah.
I go to Bumbershoot.
Yeah.
They found me. So when you started hammering around Portland, I mean, when did you finally, start making money?
6 months ago.
This year.
I just went around Portland doing open mics, and then I started, like, I needed to make some amount of money, so I would just take any type of road gig to Tacoma or Milton or any, place up and down the coastline.
What, featuring?
Yep.
For who? Where were some nights where you went out as a young comic and you're like, holy fuck, that guy can fucking do it?
Well, there was mostly a lot of like, oh, holy fuck, is this what people want?
I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I'm in trouble if this is what I have to do to survive. There was a lot of that, mostly with the headliners I was working with. But then it was people like Dwight Slade taking me out first when I was like, oh, this guy is funny and he knows how to be a nice person while he's on the road, and he's just teaching me how to be a good person when I'm on the road. And then it was like Moshe Kasher took me out, and Nick Thune, and I think that was the first time I was like really working with people that I also enjoyed their comedy.
Right, two people doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dwight is a great guy, and he's lived with the burden of being Bill Hicks's childhood friend.
Yep.
And his comedy partner when they were, 14 or 15 for his entire life. Dwight Slade, it's like, oh yeah, Bill Hicks's childhood friend.
Yep.
That's a rough one.
It's a rough one, but he's happy. He makes money. He always reminds me of what this job is and what it can be. Like I saw a picture of him performing on top of just some like tables for a company retreat and just looking like he was killing it. And I was just like, I never forget like that's part of this job too.
The job of comedy.
Yeah.
Just to make people laugh.
Yeah.
No matter what the situation is.
Yeah.
If you're being paid to do so.
If you're being paid to do so, it's your job to go out there and do your job correctly.
Do you feel that?
Yes, absolutely.
Have you been in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, just in life, I'm not always wanting to go be funny. None of us,
But it's sort of interesting to bend what you want to do, to bend your comedy into that situation. Yeah. Because like if you're unique and you do your own thing, there's sort of that moment where you're like, this is not the situation for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of that for me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Fucking one-nighters on the road where they're just going out for comedy. There's no name value to it. But the challenge of, that moment where you're like, I gotta do the job.
Yeah. Yeah. Do your job. And it's like a lot of your attitude of, I have to make this fun for me, no matter what. I have to have fun. And if you're drawn into it, excellent. I mean, that's a lot of my headlining stuff now is people going like, huh? And then, and then being like, okay. Or them being like, and they're like, nah.
Does that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. For sure.
But you're such a sweet Buddha-like presence up there.
Yeah, but like, I mean, if you don't, I'm sweet, but my thing is very rhythmic. There's a clear
you gotta
pace
lock
to
in.
it. You gotta lock in. And if you're on the outside of it, trying to jump in, it's hard. I can understand that. If you're just like, what is this fucking weirdo talking about?
Yeah, I don't know where to enter this situation.
So I get a lot of that. So, I mean, so in that point, I still always want to do what I do, but if I can make it accessible, I don't have a problem being like, oh, I have to explain it to you.
Well, you're pretty
bit.
accessible. I mean, it's not like you're not coded. It's just a matter of whether people are going to dig your groove.
Yeah.
I saw you at the Comedy Store once. I was like, how's he going to do here? Fucking right away. You nailed it.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I love going there. It reminds me of Suki's in Portland. It was just like, that's a lot of what Suki's was, we're not gonna listen. We're not gonna listen. We don't care. We're drunk. It's fucking 12:30 or 1 a.m. And so I just have to go out there and do what I want to do. And that's the same thing I feel at the Comedy Store, and that's what I like about going there.
That weird moment of entry where you're like, well, we're going to know in about 3 minutes. The degree of fun I'm going to have is going to reveal itself in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
If not sooner.
Yeah.
Well, there's the first joke. That didn't go anywhere. Okay.
Yeah, if we don't get on with this next one, it's a dog fight.
So you moved, how long ago did you move down here?
I moved down here 4th of July of 2 years. So like upcoming this July 4th will be 2 years.
And how long how'd the marriage come undone?
I mean, it was just always unraveling. It was never a good thing. We got married too young. We were too poor. We have a kid with autism. We always were just fighting other people, and then was like, oh, why are we together? Yeah. And there was a lack of trust, especially with me being on the road.
Yeah.
And so.
And you being such like, ladies man.
You know me. Just getting it.
Yeah.
And so it just was, I just remember she told me, she was like, I don't like comedy anymore.
Oh, really?
And I knew that day, I was like, it's over.
I've been there. I know that one. Where it's like, someone told me that I ruined comedy for them.
Yeah. That's pretty much where I'm at.
That is not what the clown's job is. That's not part of our resume. I ruined comedy for a couple of women.
Yeah, they're not into a whole genre. They're just all about dramas now.
No more laughing. How often do you see Malcolm?
I see him pretty much monthly. He's going to be here for the summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that
with cool. You and Ian?
Yeah.
Ian knows him?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they get along. They're buds.
I could see Ian getting along with a relatively nonverbal, excitable person.
Yeah. And he's real for the most part. He's just super chill. He just wants to play video games and eat pizza. So he's like the coolest.
But do you ever tour with Ian? Because both of you guys, I don't think you middled for me, but you were on my show once or twice at Helium in Portland. That must have changed everything up there when they got the comedy club.
Yeah, definitely.
Finally.
Yeah.
That was the first time I really noticed you, I think.
Yeah, that was the first time where we had real goals in competition and people trying to get things and then people getting upset at people for getting those things.
Why'd that guy get the feature?
Yeah.
I've been doing it longer.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
A lot of that, yeah.
Yeah. Have you headlined up there yet?
No.
No? Are you headlining though?
Yeah, I'm headlining. I'm doing stuff.
You think he's gonna let you do it?
No,
it's weird with the hometown thing.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of is. It's just kind of I don't know if they'll ever look at me like that.
That's fucking bullshit.
So
Because you were up there when they opened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you were up there for the first couple of years of that place.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same with every hometown thing. It's like, why not put their own guys up there? Has Dwight done it?
Yeah, Dwight did it, but, I think they gave him like one of those off days. They didn't give him a weekend.
Oh, man.
So
we'll have to talk to Grossman about it.
Yeah, let him know.
Yeah.
I'll take credit I was the first person to take Ian out on the road. So,
were you?
Mm-hmm.
As your feature?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, he's got very big personality, this fella. I'm glad I took him on the road that one time.
No, I'm never afraid of competition. I like it.
Do you?
Yeah. I like it. That's my favorite thing is when I work with headliners who aren't afraid to travel with people who are strong,
When like you talking about yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Have you put it up the headliner's ass a couple of times?
A couple times, for sure. And they'll gladly admit it.
Yeah.
I won't mention any names here, but they know who they are.
I know that day. I know that one night out of that week.
Yeah, and it's not fair. It's the best position to be in.
Yeah, if you're working with a strong feature, you're like, well, that one, he got that one. I don't love that competition myself.
Yeah, because it's not fair. Like, if I'm doing like 20, 25, and you gotta do a full hour.
I do like to work with strong acts, though. I definitely I'll take the hit if there is a hit to be taken, if I like watching the guy work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's better to be out on the road with somebody who's
fun and you like,
and you can hang out with. And, and most of the time, people there to see me, they know what they're getting. You know what I mean? No one's going to hand me my ass too bad. I'm not going to be out there with any big musical closers.
Yeah, oh yeah, right?
Yeah. So, what do you do during the day now?
Depends on how I'm feeling. If it's a good day, hopefully I get up early, do some writing, go to the gym, do some shows, write some stuff.
Bad day?
Bad day, I watch a lot of 90s wrestling, take a lot of bong hits and naps, don't work out, and then wonder if I'll ever find love again.
How was today?
Today was a middle day where it started off bad, and then I forced myself to go to the gym.
Well, thank God. And then you came here.
Yep.
A turned around man. All right, buddy. It's good talking to you.
Good talking to you, Mark.
All right, that's it. That's our show, PDX. Portland. Represent. That's right. What great guys. I love both of them. I really do. I don't know if they know that. I don't know if they know that I love them, that Ian Karmel and the Ron Funches fella. I hope you enjoyed those conversations. And look, don't forget, if you're doing the fantasy sports thing, get in on FanDuel to win your share of more than $10 million every week. Go to FanDuel.com to sign up and click on the microphone in the top right-hand corner to enter the code Maron. And for the first 50 people that use Maron as the code, FanDuel will match your first deposit dollar up to $200. That's FanDuel.com. Enter the code Maron. That's it. That's our show. Go to WTFpod.com for all your WTF pod needs. Get the app. Get some merch. Christmas is coming up. I restocked the MTV shirts. Let me know if you want some other stuff in there. JustCoffee.coop is available at WTFpod.com. If you get the WTF blend. Oh.
Lock the gate!
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fuck buddies, what the fucking ears, what the fuck nicks, what the fuckables, what the fuckleberry thins. How's it going? I am Marc Maron. This is WTF. Welcome to the show. Today, doubleheader. Portland. It's a Portland doubleheader with Ian Karmel and Ron Funches. Now, the one thing about having these guys on today, I interviewed them at different times, but I put them together because there was sort of a theme to it in my mind, is that I know a lot of you realize that comics all know each other. A lot of us know each other, but a lot of us came up together. And what that really means is that we were part of a comedy scene. And when I was starting out in New York, it was very specific. I mean, there were comedy scenes in other places, but the primary comedy scenes when I was coming up, well, you had New York, you had LA, you had Boston, you had San Francisco. They had healthy comedy scenes where you could live and work and do comedy and develop and maybe even make a little money. Now, almost every fucking city in the country has a comedy scene. There are comedy scenes everywhere. A lot of that has to do with the evolution of comic produced shows. There's a lot of alternative venues that have happened and changed the face of comedy. But these guys, Ian Karmel and Ron, both come from and Ron Funches both come from the Portland scene. They're a couple of generations behind me, but you talk to these guys, they both knew each other. And at one time Portland only had one club, and they had a fight to get on there if they even got in there. But there were other areas, there were other clubs, alternative venues. I mean, and they talk about the other cats that are up there: Shane Torres, Sean Jordan, Whitney Street, Dwight Slade, who's actually in my generation, lives up there, Augie Smith, Amy Miller. And there's like a whole world of comics up in Portland. Andy Wood, who put on the Portland Comedy Festival initially. It's a thriving scene. And these are a couple of guys they've delivered. Delivered. That's right. Ian Karmel Ron Funches were delivered to show business from Portland. And that's why I have them bunched together, themed. I mean, when I was coming up, there's some great memories about being a young comic and living this life, which is a very peculiar life. It's it's an entertainer's life. You're up late at night. You're waiting to do spots. By the time you're done with your evening, it could be 1, 2 in the morning. And back in New York, it'd be me, Todd Barry, Louis C.K., Sarah Silverman, Jeff Ross, Dave Attell. We'd all end up at the Kiev, which isn't there anymore, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, eating pie, eating ice cream, talking about stuff. That was the time when we really socialized. I mean, we weren't usually going home until the sun was coming up. And you could do that because we were fucking comedians. And there was something about those times. There was an innocence to it all. And to see how everybody turned out and how everybody evolved. And at that time, we were all trying to figure out why we were funny, how we were funny. But you had a certain camaraderie there. And it kept you going. Comedians need that. You can't develop in a vacuum. It's very amazing that almost every city in the country, now has its own scene. And that camaraderie is available. And that, you can do that. I hope that all the places in the country have a lot of places you can eat late at night, because that was essential to my development as a stand-up comedian. We've got a new sponsor today, and this one is great for anyone out there selling stuff online. When you're selling online, people, you know how tough it can be getting your orders out the door quickly. That's why I want to tell you about ShipStation.com. You heard me. It's the fast and easy way to manage and ship your orders all in one place. With ShipStation.com, you'll be shipping out more of your stuff, but in less time. Whether you sell on eBay, Amazon, Etsy, or from more than 50 other popular marketplaces, ShipStation.com brings all your orders into one place to make them easy to manage so you can ship them out fast. With ShipStation.com, easily create shipping labels using all the top carriers like UPS, FedEx, and the U.S. Postal Service through Stamps.com. ShipStation is the #1 choice of online sellers with an incredible 98% customer satisfaction rating. This is really a no-brainer, people. If you're selling stuff online, how many times have you said to yourself, I wish someone else would handle all this shipping info? Well, now you have ShipStation.com to handle it for you. Right now, you can try ShipStation.com free for 30 days, plus you can get an additional month free only if you use my offer code WTF. 2 months free, and that's a great deal. 2 months free if you use the offer code WTF. So don't wait. Go to ShipStation.com, and before you do anything else, click on the podcast button at the top of the homepage and type in WTF. That's ShipStation.com. Enter WTF. Now, I want to tell you, when I was up in Portland working at Helium, once Helium came around and all these cats had a place to work and at least to open and feature and do some open mic work, it really kind of congealed, solidified the Portland scene in a lot of ways. I would go up there, always get a local opener, and that's where I met Ian Karmel. Ian Karmel, I can't remember if he opened or featured for me. I think he actually did both. I think the first time I was there, he opened, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy's strong. And then he featured for me, and I'm like, holy shit, how am I going to follow that? This guy's an animal, this Ian Karmel fella. It's a big boy with a big tone, big jokes. I also met Funches up there too. He did a guest spot for me. That was the first time I met him up in Portland, and then you just sort of know there's a sensibility to Portland. There's a lot of creativity up there, and now Ian's down here, but he's got a hell of a story. So let's talk now to Ian Karmel, and then we'll do Funches after him. Was I trying to give you a pep talk about L.A. before you left?
You did give me you were great the whole way. I emceed for you once upon a time. And Twice. I emceed, and I also featured for you.
You emceed for me once, and then you featured for me, once or twice?
At the club, and then also you let me at the Aladdin Theater in Portland.
Oh, I did, right?
Remember that show?
Yeah,
that was a fun show.
It was. There was some sort of plumbing problem.
There was a plumbing problem, and somebody brought you a loaf of banana bread, which you let me take home.
That's right,
Paige. I ate like half of it on the way home.
Yeah. Right. So what did I say? Tell me a good thing about me, because I need to hear it.
I'll tell you several good things. You were very encouraging just from the beginning, saying like, if you come down to LA, let me know. I'll get you on shows. And I took you up on it. I don't know if people take you up on it, but I did. And you came through with it. I got on shows. I got to do comedy Death Ray, Bang Bang, whatever it was called at the time, before it ended. Yeah. And maybe before I was ready. But well, I don't know. I think it went well. But you did that, and then you were also encouraging about coming to L.A. You're like, go do it, get down there.
Why not?
And a little bit of like, why aren't you down there yet?
Yeah.
When are you coming?
That was right. I went back up there. I'm like, are you going to stay up here?
You still doing here? What are you still doing here?
You can be stuck here, buddy.
Exactly. You got to, and that made me think about those people who do get stuck in their scenes.
Every scene, dude.
You see them when you're on the road, and it hurts your soul. That's the. Stand-up comedy can be very sad even for successful people. Yeah. And then when you see those people who are, like, stuck in Kansas City, they've been there forever, they can't leave, or they've convinced themselves they can't leave.
Yeah, because, quite honestly, it's interesting because those kind of people with that type of personality, they might not be able to cut it here. If you go sort of like, all right, I guess I'm coming. If you're not like, this is it.
Yes. I think you need to jump into it, and throw yourself into it.
Yeah, and do whatever you got to do.
Some people get uncomfortable if they go a couple weeks between, like, paying gigs. Yeah. They're used to, they were born on the road.
Yeah, well, that's a killer, too, right?
Yeah.
It can be.
They can't. Even, like, very funny comedians who would do well here never stay long enough to put down roots.
Right.
And they're always off.
And they don't ever engage.
Yeah.
In the thing.
They've always got their eye on the road still.
Right. I live in LA, but I don't really get, they're like, I don't get asked to do much. I'm like, no one's going to ask you to do anything.
You have to, people are so afraid of asking to do stuff. I don't understand it. It's so competitive, but I guess I think my opinion is if you think you're funny, you should ask to do things. If you think you're going to take advantage of an opportunity and do well and reflect well upon the people who recommended you, why not get in there and do it? It's going to be some other schmuck doing it.
Well, that was the thing about you, is like, even when you emceed for me that time, I'm like, holy fuck, this guy's got some momentum. I'm like, what the fuck? How long's this guy been doing it? You get up there, you own the fucking stage. You're a big boy anyway.
I am a big boy. Yeah.
But despite that, I mean, I think that can work in your favor. But you definitely had the confidence in this sort of kind of bravado.
Yeah.
I don't know if is it bravado, just this sort of like this. You're going to reckon with me. There's no insecurity that I saw.
I don't feel any on stage.
Was that always the case?
The first performance I ever did was I took an improv class in college.
In Portland?
In Portland, Oregon, at Portland State University.
Yeah.
My uncle Scott Parker taught it, and I needed an arts credit.
Yeah.
I was eventually going to go to law school. My dad's a lawyer, and I wanted to go be a lawyer. But you needed an arts credit, so I was like, I'll take this improv class. It should be easy. And then I made people laugh, kind of right off the bat. It was the same kind of shit you do in class to be clever. Yeah. You just have to be quick with an answer. And everybody knows how to be funny.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
that's true. But doesn't it feel like it almost seems like people, as you get older, got less and less funny?
Well, no, I think that there are some people that can't help themselves.
Yeah.
And they're the people that cause trouble. And
class clowns.
Yeah.
I was never one of those.
You weren't?
I was. No, I would come in, I would I would have like a funny answer to a question, that a teacher would ask. But I was never the kind of person who would like pull my balls out and tell them like, look at the robin's egg.
Who the fuck does that?
There were people who did that.
That's not a class clown.
This guy Sean Simmons.
That's a kid with a problem. He's pulling his balls out. He's doing that in front of the class, or
he would do it in front of the class, or he'd like pull it out on the slide, like, look at this, look at this.
Yeah, no, that's not a class clown. That's,
okay.
How'd that
That's
kid
a sex
end?
offender.
Kinda. How'd he end up that kid?
I don't know how you end up that kid.
No, but how did how long did you know that kid?
I knew that kid until the end of high school.
And how did he end up in high school? What did he do in high school? Was he still showing his balls?
He was on the football team with me.
Football.
I played football. I had to. I'm gigantic, and they wouldn't leave me alone.
The thing I didn't get about you was like, I was in Portland. I don't quite understand Portland, and here you are. You're this big, gregarious Jew that was clearly built somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, how the fuck does Ian Karmel end up in Portland, Oregon?
I'm from Beaverton, which is just 9 miles outside of Portland.
Wait, no, somewhere, you came through New York somewhere.
My father's from Brooklyn.
There.
Yeah.
So what was that?
I don't know, he's from Brooklyn, and he's like a normal-sized version of me. Maybe a little more self-obsessed.
But wait, so you got grandma and grandpa in Brooklyn, or what?
They live in Florida now.
But they were in Brooklyn?
They were in Long Island when I was growing up, but they were from Brooklyn. My father's dad died before I ever met him.
Yeah.
And my grandmother remarried. She was from Europe, and my father's dad, who died before I met him, was also from Europe. They escaped the Holocaust. She was from Belgium. He was from Paris. And they have pretty interesting stories. Like my grandmother had to hide in a Catholic convent.
Yeah.
For a couple years, and the nuns smuggled her out.
Did she tell you that story?
My dad told me this story.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to her. She's still alive. I haven't talked to her about it. She doesn't. I mean, she goes around the schools. I know all the stories that I feel like she'd be comfortable telling me.
Yeah.
And then I feel like there's stories that she wouldn't be comfortable telling me, but maybe I should ask. Why would I not?
I don't know, because sometimes you don't think it's the right thing to do.
It feels like it's not the right thing to do. It feels like...
I think there's a lot of grandparents now that are being assaulted by their grandchildren with cameras.
All these NPR...
Yeah. Tell me the story about when Grandpa died in the fire.
Right.
Yeah.
All these exactly. All these people, they want to record their grandmother being sad and then slowly fade in a Sibo Motto track in the background and then fade it back out while she starts another story. There's a whole generation of those people. I feel like it's hard how do you talk to a Holocaust survivor, Her whole family was
start with
out.
that was bad, right?
Yeah, that was some shit, right?
Yeah, right, the Nazis.
Yeah, I had a rough day, but you've had some rough days.
Yeah. Tell me about that Nazi thing where you were running for your life.
Yeah. Go on, your sister didn't make it. How did that make you feel? Sometimes I don't call my sister for a week.
Did her sister not make it?
There were two there's a family picture that my dad has.
That looks like that one back there on the shelf?
It does exactly that same tone, sepia tone, and very dour Jewish faces.
Dour Jewish faces.
Dour, but there's more of it. It's like a bigger picture. There's probably I want to say 12 or 15 people in the picture.
Yeah.
And 2 of them made it out.
Oh.
Yeah. And then there's my dad's side.
Yeah.
Where they stayed in the same apartment in Paris.
Yeah.
For a couple years during the Nazi occupation of Paris.
Yeah.
And who knows, I mean, the implications of what his mother had to do.
Yeah, I can't imagine it.
I can't imagine. It's insane.
Well, maybe so there's the mother, the woman that you don't know how to talk to her about?
That was the one who hid in the monastery.
Whose mother is that?
That's my dad's mother.
All right, but who's the one that lived in Paris?
That's my dad's father.
Who
okay.
died. Oh, who died, right.
And he
had a bunch of sisters.
No, it was just him and his brother.
Okay.
Who ended up in Israel or something, or staying in France. I forget. It's all very murky. It's hard as a Jew to get too involved in family detail, family history and stuff like that, because there was so much movement and tragedy
around that time.
Yeah.
I think all my people were here. They missed it.
Yeah.
They got out before. They came in from Russia, come in from Poland before
they had their own shit.
Thing.
They had their own bad.
Well,
right?
Just the fact that they had to get here on a boat.
That's bad.
Could you imagine a fucking boat?
No, I can't.
A boat that you had that was the only option. It's not a cruise.
I get bitchy sitting in traffic alone in an air-conditioned car.
Like, we're going to the new world, and what are the options? Well, we can't take a train. It's water.
Yeah.
There's no commercial airlines. They're going to be on a boat for a month.
They're on that ship just eating like a pot of boiling water with a stick of celery in it. Like
that's what you picture. I can't imagine they were, on the top tier there.
It couldn't have been much nicer. No, they're not coming over having like delicious.
Not on the Titanic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately. All right, so you weren't born. You were born in Beaverton.
I was born in Portland.
Really?
And lived there till I was 1. Yeah, I have like kind of my dad has a pretty thick accent, and then we would go to New York.
Where's your mom from?
She's from Portland.
So how did he end up there?
Law school.
Oh.
He came out to a Lewis and Clark Law School because he was he was a hippie and he wanted to be an environmental lawyer.
That's a good school, though, right?
It's a good school. Yeah. He was. He's that first generation of immigrant where you have to work hard and accomplish things.
Yeah.
And then I'm that second generation of immigrant where I get to try to be a comedian.
Yeah, because he earned
he earned a good living.
He earned you the right to not give a fuck.
Right, exactly.
And he didn't instill any values in you.
And then my parents got divorced, so he couldn't come down on me too hard about like pursuing improv.
So wait, he goes to Lewis and Clark to be a hippie lawyer.
Yeah.
Where does he end up?
Doing like divorce.
Oh, the death of a dream.
Oh, yeah. It happens eventually.
Yeah.
I'm writing for a TV show on E. It all eventually happens. And he dated my aunt for a little bit first, and then eventually met
your mother's sister?
Yeah, my mother's sister. And then met my mother, and then they were married for 10 years, had a couple of kids.
What'd she do?
She's a nurse.
Still?
Yeah. She's a baby nurse.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh.
So you got 2 sisters?
I got 2 sisters, older sister, younger sister. My younger sister and I have the same dad, Ivan the lawyer, and then my older brother and older sister have a different dad who passed away when they were in their teens.
Okay.
Yeah, but we were all raised together. It's never felt like we were half siblings.
You're all with your mother?
With my mother, yeah.
Yeah.
And she took in like their friends too. She's one of those just like the door is open. Like,
so people coming and going in the house?
My older brother and older sister, they would have friends who would come live with us for like a week or 2. They would, like these like suburban troublemakers, driving around in like a Mazda and like hitting mailboxes with a baseball bat kind of people.
Yeah.
And they would come and stay with us for weeks, like sometimes like a month at a time.
Yeah.
In the house.
Yeah.
And for me that was great. Like my brother's 9 years older than me, and his friends were all cool, so I got to kind of like hang around.
Did they turn you on to the music?
Yeah, they would a little bit. Yeah, like with
you need those guys,
rap
right?
music. Yeah.
Oh, with the rap.
They did. Yeah, I got into they would listen to like Too Short and NWA around the house.
Really?
And I got into that, and then Metallica too.
Oh yeah, that from 2 different siblings?
No, that's all from my older brother and his friends. He just like loud, hard stuff, and I still I think that is important to have that formative influence.
Yeah, if you don't have them, you got to go find them.
How else do you figure out what's cool?
So you got all these sibs. Don't you have a nutty uncle too?
I do. I have the guy who taught me improv.
What the hell is that guy's story?
He's he married my mom's sister, the one my dad initially dated.
Yeah.
And they're not even living together anymore, but they had one of those. They had like a very civil just divorce where they were just like, well, we're done here, right?
Right.
Yeah, we're done. And then
Close
they just
it up.
sort of went their separate ways.
Yeah.
He was just a guy. My aunt and my uncle, actually, my uncle Tommy Improv and my aunt who he was married to were both like in theater in Portland, doing like doing plays, doing improv groups in like shitty basements places, and and doing all that sort of stuff. But they all stayed in Portland.
Yeah.
Everybody stayed in Portland.
Yeah.
And eventually taught like he did. And my aunt she would do a play every like year or something.
Yeah.
You like the Menopause the Musical type shit.
Yeah.
But my uncle, he's the guy who I learned improv from, and then I would like TA his class.
Yeah.
And eventually he helped push me like out of Portland.
Into stand up. And he's still around?
He's still around, yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna retire from teaching soon.
Was there another one? Was there a bad seed somewhere?
There's a lot of bad seeds on my mom's side of the family. Everybody dies from heroin on my mom's side of the family. They all live in Portland and do heroin. It's stereotypical. Everything's like a Gus Van Sant movie.
Is it stereotypical to be a grown man, with a career, and it's like, oh yeah, what does your family do? Well, one side of the family does heroin.
Yeah, one.
It's Portland. My mom's a nurse, and there's a bunch of other people. They just do heroin.
On my dad's side, they're kind of like artists. On the mom's side, heroin junkies. I've lost 3. I've lost two aunts and an uncle
Really?
heroin. Yeah. One married pair, my Uncle John and Cheryl, his wife, both died from heroin years apart. And then just recently, my Aunt Judy, like last year, a year and a half ago.
It's horrible.
They can't, it's horrible. The thing with like my Aunt Judy is like, she was a wonderful, completely sweet woman.
Yeah.
But one of those people where she was effectively dead from the amount of drugs she'd done, like pretty much the whole time I knew her. So when she died, it was very sad. But
Yeah.
it was also just like,
The natural course of
it
things.
seemed like it had been coming for so long.
But that, like, I mean, but how old are these people? I mean, does that, Portland has been like sort of a heroin port?
For a long time.
For a long time. What,
Yeah.
from, where's it come from? From China? From Vietnam? Or is it, it's not the Mexican heroin, is it? Listen.
I think it's I think it's local. I don't know where they're.
Well, it's got to come in, right?
Right, because it's got to be poppies.
Yeah, well, it's got to come in from somewhere, but but that's the weird feeling. Like, I never spent much time in Portland, but I spent a little time in Seattle. You get up there into the Pacific Northwest, and there's a heaviness to it.
There's a big heaviness, and there's a darkness to it that, like, now people watch Portlandia, and they're like, oh, it's all goats and and artisanal cheeses and quinoa and shit like that. It's not. Like, even the little circle of Portland that Portlandia talks about, it has a big, heavy, dark side to it.
Well, I mean, you grew up there because now it's completely changed.
It has.
Like, because like when I go up there, I feel like, there's a type of darkness and it's not a seediness, but there's sort of an ended, the sort of the last stop on the train
It's
feeling.
absolutely the last stop. Well, that's like Chuck Palahniuk wrote that book, Fugitives and Refugees, about Portland, which is great. He said that's like, it's the last stop. People from the rest of the country, it's almost like
either they go to Florida or they go to Portland,
Right.
depending on, what they're propelled towards.
Exactly. They all sort of drain towards it. Yeah, if they're more artistic, they end up in Portland, and if they just want to...
Bleak and artistic, or
Yeah.
if they just want to go to the beach because they earned it.
Right.
Or they...
Pensacola.
Right, yeah, or if their lives have gone so horribly wrong, they need to settle in Key West.
That's all. Oh, God, literally the end of the line.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been chased there.
But did you feel that growing up?
You would see it when you would walk around downtown Portland.
When you're a kid, because you're what, 29?
29.
So, all right, so let's say 20 years ago, before there was any glimmer of like, artisanal anything.
Yeah.
There was no pock. There was no pork belly sandwiches.
Powell's was there, but it was
Powell's
just a bookstore.
It was a
rather than
hippie bookstore, right?
Rather than an idea, yeah.
Right. So it was a small town.
Yeah.
And it was a small dark town with no black people.
Absolutely not. No, because they let that part of town flood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was on the books that, we can't have the black people here for a long time.
It was an incredible, Oregon itself was incredibly racist for the longest time. And it was my dad got beat up by a skinhead outside of like a 7-Eleven, like in 1982, 83, fairly recently. Just got he might have, my mom changed, she says like he was talking shit to the skinheads. But there were still skinheads
I think that's
there.
right by Idaho, and that's not known for anything good.
Ever. I don't know if Idaho ever goes through like a Portland change. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah. It's known for TM and for off the grid white supremacy.
Exactly. Yeah. It's great at both of them. It's great. But people, you'd see street kids, you'd see strung out people who, like, even when you're 9, who don't look like too much older than you, like teenagers.
Yeah.
There's a huge, like, lots of homeless teenagers in Portland, all strung out on heroin.
Right. This same with Seattle before Seattle took a turn.
Yeah.
Because there was a big runaway contingent, big heroin problem up there. I wonder where the fuck it comes in. If it's Seattle, it's got to come in from
Asia, right? It's got to be from the ports. Portland, I mean, is a port city as well, not to the level Seattle is, but it's got to be coming in there.
Well, yeah, because it's like the Asians and Japanese, and it's got to be like that Golden Triangle shit from Vietnam and stuff. Yeah, it's probably been going in there since just after the Vietnam War and shit.
I'm sure it has. Yeah.
Yeah, so but when you grew up with these, like, did you feel like a lot of members of your family were part of that kind of like that hippie thing?
I don't know if they were hippie. Like, I see pictures of my Uncle John, who died when I was 13. He died the day after my bar mitzvah.
Really?
Yeah. Or like 2 days after. I think it was the day after.
Did he go to your bar mitzvah?
He did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did he look bad?
No, that's the thing. I mean, when like a heroin addict dies, it tends to be because they got clean.
Yeah. Right. Or they get bad dose.
They get a bad dose, or they get clean and then try to take as much as they were taking before.
Right.
And then just completely fuck themselves up because their body's not used to it.
What happened with John?
That's what happened to him.
Oh.
That's what happened to my aunt as well. She died right after she got out of treatment.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. They both left children behind, and like, And the family has, took in my Uncle John's kid and my Aunt Judy. Her children were fully grown, but like, it's and there's a lot. You'll have.
It's just a weird thing that people don't realize is that this is a woman with fully grown children.
Yeah.
Who's been, on and off being strung out for decades.
Their entire life.
Yeah. And you just don't think of like, my mom's a heroin addict. My aunt, she's a, functioning heroin addict.
Exactly. It's
a unique thing.
You think about your parents, like, well, they're kind of messed up, but they're not functioning heroin addicts.
Right.
And that's real life for somebody.
Yeah.
It's not like a compelling Showtime
Your life.
drama. It is, yeah. She would, she'd show up to Christmas, and I could never suss it out because she'd always been like that. But my mom would be like, "Oh, she's fucked up."
Yeah.
Right now, coming to like holiday parties.
So your mom's not Jewish.
She converted before I was born.
Really? So your dad really had the pull on her.
He did have the pull on her. Yeah. He wanted Jewish children, and I think his parents really wanted Jewish children. But she grew up pretty much a religious, I think, from a Catholic
So you got Christmas
background.
and the Hanukkah.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And then when they got divorced, I got like Christmas and Hanukkah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you grew up with all these cousins.
Yeah.
And everyone's around, tight family. You seem pretty well adjusted.
I'm decently well adjusted. I feel like there's something, like there's a giant squid of being fucked up swimming around somewhere in my ocean, and like science just hasn't been able to capture it on film yet.
Yeah. You maybe when you're 40.
I don't know when it's going to happen, but I almost feel like I should preemptively go to therapy.
Yeah, to get the squid.
Yeah, just to find it.
Yeah.
I really do feel, sometimes I'll feel bad, like, why am I fucked up? I'm a comedian. I should be more fucked up, right?
Well, you're a little fucked up.
I'm a little fucked. I mean, I'm fat. I can't stop eating. I'm trying to,
When did that start?
I don't, like when I was like 12, 13.
You just can't stop eating?
I just started packing it on. Yeah.
But you're one of those guys. I can't picture you thin.
It's hard. It would be hard to be thin.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be like Hollywood fat.
Yeah.
Which I'm getting, I'm kind of there already, but like I just want to be healthier. I don't want to end up like you. I mean, John Panette just died.
Panette lived life to its fullest, though.
He did. It wasn't just food with him.
No.
But you don't see too many old fat comedians, and that worries me. You see like 50s comedians, but the 50s fat was like they were 170 pounds.
Right. Well, you see old fat comedians that got the operation, or they look like
weird.
they're half the people they used to be.
If I lose this weight, I got to do it before like 35, where people where you get that weird. I used to be fat neck.
Yeah.
You can't be funny with that. It's not funny.
It's funnier to be fat.
It's funnier to be fat.
Than to have I used to be fat neck.
That I used to be fat. It's the worst. And they'll wear form-fitting clothes too because they're so excited about their new body.
Yeah, everybody that sees them that knows them thinks they must be sick.
Yeah.
And they feel great.
What happened?
Yeah. They're like, no, nothing happened. I'm a new man. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, when you can see a fat person's bones, you automatically assume
something went wrong. Yeah, maybe you might want to add that part of your colon back.
I need to get like Jonah Hill right now fat.
Yeah. He's pretty. He carries it pretty well.
He does pretty good with it.
So, all right. So you grow up. You're always a pretty gregarious kid, and people like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got the feeling from you that people like you.
People seem to like me. Yeah. I like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, I'll talk shit. Mm-hmm. You'll get together with Funches or other friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And you'll sit around and talk shit.
I got to talk to Funches.
You should talk to Funches.
I think we got it on the books.
I think you do have it on the books.
Yeah. So, all right. So when does what is the decision making process around being funny? So you end up playing football.
I played football.
But you're like one of those football guys. You had free reign. You weren't a jock.
No way. The weird thing about my high school football team is none of the good football players were jocks. Like our quarterback was in like AP classes.
Yeah.
And like just a super smart kind of dull smart guy.
Yeah.
And I was good mostly because I was gigantic. But
what
I hung
position?
out. I was a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I hung out with some of the football players and then with just kind of nerds, but not really nerds the way they weren't like programming computers or anything like that. There's no good word for them. Just kind of misfits, dudes who are just
misfits that weren't fuck ups.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
We need a word for that kind of person. Maybe just humans. Yeah. One of them was like into skateboarding. The other one, like he would play his guitar, and then a couple of my other friends were those kind of people, also on the football team.
Yeah.
Because it was something to do. Fucked up my knee senior year of high school.
Yeah.
And then like I could have played in college, but I could have played at like a bad college.
Yeah.
So I just decided not to. To not play. And then went off to college. I went to Southern Oregon University for 1 year.
Yeah.
Which is in Ashland, Oregon.
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful town, but it's a weird place to go when you're like 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, I feel like I've been there.
They do a Shakespeare festival there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's gorgeous, but then I transferred like 1 year later and got to Portland State University.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I was going to become a lawyer, but the closer I got to that becoming a reality, the more I realized, like, oh, this is fucked. I don't want to do any of this. And my dad sat me down one time, and this was like first or second year in college, and he told me, he's like, don't become a lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me very unhappy, you know,
Yeah.
like in my personal life.
But he sat you down and said
He
that?
said that to me. He knew I wanted to become a lawyer, and he said that to me. Before I even had any designs of becoming a comedian, he just told me, like...
This is when when his illusions were shattered.
Yeah. And he was like, well, he's stuck doing it. He'd much rather be, like, I don't know, the things you do when you're kind of frustrated with your career. Like, I'd rather open a restaurant or become an author or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think
so he did you that service.
he did. He sat me down and said, "Don't become a lawyer."
Why were you thinking about becoming a lawyer?
I think honestly because it was an impressive answer that I gave when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, you know, everybody else was like, "I want to be a cop. I want to be a fireman."
Yeah.
You know, and then
Yeah.
I was like, "I'd like to be an attorney."
Yeah.
And like all these guys were, "Oh, what a 9-year-old!"
And your dad was an attorney.
And he was an attorney.
So you figured, why not? I did that. My dad was a doctor. I'll be a doctor.
And you wanted to become right?
Yeah, but then you're like, oh, what the fuck?
I couldn't. Could you imagine doing anything even remotely close
I
to
wouldn't.
that?
Well, I mean, I wish I had the fortitude to do it or the passion for it. I mean, you know, it's sort of like, would I be happier, saving lives, than sitting in my garage? I don't know. But you live with these people. That's the weird thing is like, when you live with a doctor, you're like, well, he's never home.
Never.
And, and he's distracted. And, he's got his own issues. But it's nice that your father actually was it sort of like, listen, kid.
We were at dinner, and it was kind of that, like, I think I was talking about class or something like that, and just kind of a very real moment of, like, don't go into, I know you're thinking about it, don't. And maybe that's one of those things where you're like, well, if he really wants to do it, he'll keep doing it anyway.
Right.
But it helped me realize that I didn't really want to do it.
And what year was that?
This was, I think, my second year of college, right before I took that improv class.
Yeah.
I think that was my third year of college.
Yeah.
Of 5. But yeah, that made me realize, like, made me really think about it. And then I was kind of lost for a while. I didn't really know. I mean, once I started getting into comedy, that felt...
Was it after college, though, or in college?
This is in college. When I started doing improv, and making people laugh. I'd always liked comedy. Like, I grew up listening to it. I would, like, fall asleep to, like, George Carlin albums or Chris Rock or Eddie Izzard.
Yeah.
I would, put it on and, like, fall asleep to it. I'd watch it whenever it was on TV, but it never seemed like a realistic... It just didn't seem like a thing that you could do.
Yeah.
I didn't know how these people got into it, but it just seemed fucking, like, absurd.
Yeah.
That was the thing you could do. It didn't seem realistic.
Not a good job choice.
Not a good... Like, yeah, and, I mean, the funny thing is it turned out to be smarter than being a lawyer, but, like, it just seemed unrealistic. And then, like, when I started taking those comedy classes, I was like, oh, I can make people laugh?
Yeah.
And, like, it's instant approval. And then, like, you start doing little shows and I was still in my, like, mid-early 20s, so I started, like, well, I'm going to pursue this and see how it goes.
So but how'd you, like, foray into it? I mean, you did the improv shows and your uncle was supportive, but I mean, how do you make the leap?
I moved, I really liked improv and I started, like, working with groups, and then I got tired of being in Portland, and one day I just decided I was going to move to Los Angeles. I lived here once before.
Really?
Yeah, about 5 years ago. 5.5 years ago. I think, I was like 25, 24.
So you hadn't done comedy yet?
I hadn't done stand-up.
Right, so you come down, you're like,
I moved down to take classes with the Groundlings.
Yeah.
I moved to South Central Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Not even knowing.
Yeah.
That's where, like...
So you had no friends here, you didn't know anything?
I didn't know a single soul
and
here.
You're just sort of like, where does someone live here?
I threw all my shit in my car and drove down, and I was staying in, like, I cashed in my bar mitzvah money.
Wow.
Which ended up being about, like, $7,000.
It seems so much more when you're younger.
It doesn't it? And then you're like, $7,000. That's gonna last me, like, I better figure shit out in a couple months. Yeah. I threw all my stuff in my car, I drove down, stayed in hotels, for the first 4 or 5 nights, and I was on, like, there was like an internet cafe on Melrose near the Groundlings, because I just stayed near there because that was the only thing that I knew I had to be close to.
And you got into the classes?
I got into the classes, yeah. And I was finding, like, on Craigslist, trying to find people to live with. And eventually these people, like, they were like, yeah, you know, we'd like to interview you. And then my mom called them and talked them into taking me in. And then I moved in and I signed the lease and I was like, this looks like kind of a rough neighborhood. And then they told me, like, oh yeah, you live in South Central. And I knew about from all the rap songs that I'd listened to.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck. And then it started, all these, like, things I'd seen started like, those people with, like, blue bandanas. Those weren't hipsters at all. Those were like Crips. You know, like, and it was like, it wasn't like terrible South Central, but it was right on, like, the edge of it.
Yeah.
These people went to USC.
Yeah.
The people I lived with.
Yeah.
But that was still like 5-6 miles away.
Right. Well, that's right in South Central,
It's
right?
right there in South Central. And this was even south and centraler than that. So that was and then I stayed there a year. I took I took level 1 and level 2 at the Groundlings. And then they were like, okay, it'll be like a year and a half until you can get into the writing lab, which was the fourth part of it. And while I was in LA, I tried stand-up.
Where?
At the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
I had, like, doing bringer shows.
But what happened? How'd you hit the wall here? What made you leave?
I couldn't, like, I was working at a P.F. Chang's in Torrance, California, which is 10 miles south of, like, downtown LA, so it's even farther. And I was doing that and trying to do comedy and I couldn't do the Groundlings for, like, another year and a half. And I was
so you're
like,
just, like, out at sea.
I was completely adrift. And, like, I didn't know.
It's a fucked up feeling where you're like, you have no way to. How do you get in?
It was so.
What the fuck
up.
You do? You're out like at a strip mall, working at a P.F. Chang's.
Exactly in the fashion center is what they called it. It was
in
like
Torrance.
Shitty strip mall in Torrance. That was and you had to work night shifts. And, like, if you were an actor, that's fine. I guess you can go to auditions during the day. I wanted to do comedy, but every good comedy night I have to work, you know, to be able to afford to live here. And yeah, you do feel completely lost. You feel like you're on the outside of entertainment and there's no doors. You're just staring up at this wall that goes up as high as you can. And that's what it felt like. Like I wrote sketches for, like, some website and, you know, I had a couple of friends from the Groundlings, but we never, you know, even if you put a group together.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go perform? I didn't even know how to, where am I going to go? Like, find some bar? Can my 3-person improv group perform here? They were shot me.
It's so lonely and weird when you've got no idea how to navigate.
It's the loneliest.
This business, you know, and you're in LA, the worst.
It's LA, but when you're doing well and when you're not doing well, looks like two such different cities.
But you go to Groundlings and you must have been, you know, aware of the history of it.
I was obsessed with the history of it.
Yeah.
People would be like, why is he moving to LA? And I'd be like, well, I'm going to the Groundlings. That's where Will Ferrell and like you go down the list of people. And then you get there and you're like, oh, these are improv classes. Well, just like any other place. They're more expensive. The more prestigious people have come through here, but they're still improv classes.
How do you make the cut? You had no idea how, you know, you got into the stage, you know.
You fly down to audition and, like, they pass. I was so nervous about the audition. And then it turns out they pass pretty much everyone who can speak English.
Right.
I think they just do the audition so, like, sex offenders and, like, people with needles can't get in.
Yeah.
And then you do the first level. There was a person in my first level who, like, barely spoke English. And that's when it really sunk in that I was like, I really blew this up in my head way too much.
Yeah.
And then in the second level, I mean, you make the cut after, like, okay, good, you're good.
But how do you get into the tour, into the actual stage company?
There's 4 levels. You have to do the first 2, and then after the first 2, which are just improv, there's usually a pretty long wait to get into the writing lab.
But isn't anyone fast-tracked?
No. No, I don't think so.
When did the heartbreak crash down on you? Do you remember the day?
I was, like, starting to turn into summer in Los Angeles. I'd been there about a year, and I remembered how beautiful the summers in Portland were. And I remember I went out for this interview for this place that would, like, clip commercials that, like, mentioned a movie, and then you would, like, compile them and send them to the studio. Some weird remora on the bottom of, you know, the Hollywood system. But it paid.
It was just a clipping service, so studios knew that their commercials were being run.
Something like that. Yeah.
You didn't even know. Isn't that the weirdest thing? Is, like, you know, you take these jobs. Like when I was out here the first time, you know, I had a friend who worked at Canon Films, and they needed script readers. Where you just do synopsises of the scripts. And I did 4 of those, and that was the end of that.
Right. You're
And
like, what was that? What was I doing?
Yeah. And then I did like some PA work at music video shoots for children's videos. And I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? You have no idea, because like when you're like we are,
Yeah.
And I think I feel the same thing. It's like no one prepared us for life.
No,
I mean,
especially not this one.
Right, but a career was not the option because we didn't plan for it.
No, keep like you just hear yes just enough to keep moving forward.
Right, but it's not like, okay, my agenda is to make money. You're like, no, I got this ridiculous dream. I have no fucking clue.
Yes.
I don't even know how to rent an apartment properly or furnish it. And
nothing. I slept on an egg crate mattress.
Yeah.
Like not even a real mat, like an egg crate from
IKEA.
IKEA.
You just have this dream, and then you go to the Groundlings, and it's sort of like, holy fuck, I just got taken for a ride.
Yeah, completely.
And
it's not like they lied to me about it, but like I lied to myself.
Right,
you know?
and so you take this job clipping commercials, and what happened?
I went for the interview, and it was like $40,000 a year or something like that, and I was like, holy fuck. And it's during the day, it's a lot of money, then I can go out at night, and I can do, I can do more improv, I can see what the stand-up thing is all about, and I didn't get it, and I was like, I'm working at P.F. Chang's.
In Torrance,
and like, I should just go back and get my college degree. I should finish up, because I just dropped out of school, and
after your second year?
Yeah, after my, second year. Just dropped out, went to LA to pursue
the
dream, and eventually figured out that the dream wasn't a real thing. And then I told my boss at the Torrance and P.F. Chang's, my grandfather was sick. I had to go back to Portland. Could I transfer to the one in Portland?
Yeah.
And eventually I'll be back. I'll be back like in 6 months.
Yeah, because I love working here.
I love it here. I want to come back to L.A.
Yeah.
I love working at P.F. Chang's, so I transferred to the one in Portland.
They did it?
They did it for me.
Oh.
Lied right to their faces.
Yeah.
And then I worked at that one in Portland and eventually got fired from it.
Yeah. So did you go back to school?
I did. I went back to school and then finished school like after another like 3 years.
And you had this secret LA thing under your belt.
This secret experience.
See, I didn't know about that, and I'm telling you to go, and you never once told me like, oh, I had a.
I know it's like
a bad story down there.
It was a bad experience. I mean, I had fun in those classes, but it was just it made. I like not to be too faux poetic or whatever, but like when you go to a part of LA where you can see a lot of the city, if you're up at like the Griffith Park Observatory and you look out at all the people and the lights and you're like, how many people are fucking failing right now? You look out and like how many people like are just like struggling and like diluting themselves and going to auditions after auditions because somebody told them that they were talented so they could, have sex with them or whatever.
Taste. Yeah, it was stringing you along.
Yeah, and like
till you lose your way back. No, there's no fucking breadcrumbs.
There's no
cookie crumbs, whatever the fuck it is.
It can be depressing, but then when you're doing well, it looks like oh look at all these people,
But you knew that. But the one thing you learned on that trip was like, it's not that it's a lie. It's just that that whatever the access code is. This isn't it.
This isn't it. Showing up here with no connections, with no real experience.
Yeah.
Other than like maybe a talent.
Yeah. That's not enough.
That's not it.
Yeah.
You need to go really prepare yourself. And when I got back to Portland, I started writing a lot more. I started doing more stand-up. I tried to do improv, and then I got so frustrated by the people who I was doing it with. Because they were being fair. They didn't want to rehearse 3-4 nights a week because they were people who were going to become a nurse or an accountant. They wanted to go see a movie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? We're never going to be famous. And they're like, I know, we're not going to be famous.
Yeah.
I'm going to get married and I'm going to live in Beaverton.
I'm just doing this for people skills.
Right, yeah. This was a nice way to meet somebody, and now we're dating, and I'm kind of not interested in this anymore. And that's what kind of pushed me towards stand-up. And I started getting more and more into stand-up and doing less improv.
What was the scene up there? Who were the guys?
They were, like in Portland, Richard Bain, Ron Funches was up there, Shane Torres, Gabe Dinger, Christine Levine.
So you and Funches and this crew are out doing the open mics.
And it's slowly building the scene up, and we're like, harassing the local newspapers to cover us. And then
weren't you writing for a paper?
I wrote for the Portland Mercury.
Yeah.
I wrote for the Mercury my last year in Portland. So and that was great. That was a great experience. They gave me first they let me do a tour, a on the road diary doing stand up, and then I wrote an article about Portland, and then they gave me a column so I could do 500 words about whatever I wanted every week. And that was a lot of fun. That helped me really hone my kind of point of view as far as writing goes.
Right. And so you started doing the work, and then when Helium opened up, that's when things changed?
Helium was huge, yeah. I got to open the second week at Helium. It was with Natasha Leggero. I got to MC for her. I was working at Netflix, in the call center at Netflix at the time. The most depressing job I've ever had.
Really?
It was the worst.
Why?
Just people have, I mean, because if you're just a voice on the end of a phone, they have no regard for you as a human.
I know.
So
I'm guilty of that.
I do it too.
Yeah.
But when when I'm doing it, I try to remind myself, well, you would never help these people. But if they would be nice to you, I would give people a year free.
Yeah.
Because it was just a click of a button and no one would ever check.
But what was the call about? Was it like complaining about
my disc showed up broken.
Yeah.
I can't get this TV show to play. This anime has subtitles. I want it to be dubbed. Shit like that. People like telling you to turn their internet on. People who had no idea what Netflix was. And it was just that for 12 hours a day, 3 days a week.
Yeah.
When Helium opened, I got to go work over there, and then you slowly figure out like, oh, I can request comedians that I like, you know.
Yeah.
And that's like
as a local opener.
As a local opener, I'm like, hey, do you have an MC for Maron yet?
Yeah, yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, go ahead. And like you, and I opened for Kanane.
Yeah.
And that was huge. And then you just pretty much just you two, because Bronger wouldn't play it. So as far as like influences, but like you get to open for these like really cool people.
Yeah.
And then, and I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass. I'm sure you get to see a different kind of comedic aesthetic, almost more honest than maybe the stuff you even saw on TV coming up in the 90s. And these people are being very funny, but they're talking about the stuff they want to talk about, and they're not doing it in like, it's not like a setup punch. You can be funny a lot of different ways.
Right.
And that is so important, I think, to see and to be around when you're coming up as a comedian. And what Helium did, and also the Bridgetown Comedy Festival, both of those things brought those kind of comedians. And we, me and Funches and Bane and Gay, like all that, and Shane, those people in Portland, got to see those people be successful. And we're like, oh fuck, we can do that too. And then I think we took that and then started like building a comedy scene there in Portland. So Helium at Bridgetown changed everything by giving us access to those comedians. And also access to the kind of people who want to buy a ticket to come see you.
Right.
Also, they get to see that I'm here.
Yeah.
Now maybe they see I'm on a show at some bar. They're going to come out to that.
Yeah.
And it started really like churning up a kind of a creative comedy scene there in Portland.
Yeah.
And it eventually got to the point I didn't need a day job anymore. I got fired from Netflix, and I could make my money doing comedy in Portland, writing for the newspaper, and then doing stuff. I was on like the post-game show for our basketball team.
Mm-hmm. You were? It was a local gig.
Yeah, on like the local cable channel.
Oh, yeah.
Which was also eventually why I left, because I was like, I could just keep doing this forever.
Right, and you were a local celebrity.
Yeah, exactly. People, I'd be walking across the street, in shitty basketball shorts, be like, yeah, and I'm like, hello. Don't look, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. I mean, you get a kick out of it, but it's also, I became so aware of the
charm of the prison you might remain in.
Perfect. Perfect. Right, exactly. Yeah. We got a nice poster up here.
That guy just waved at me. I'm getting a free sandwich.
Exactly. I would get free sandwiches all the time. All the time free. I had like sandwiches named after me. For a couple years, it's the happiest you could be. You
have your own sandwiches.
You have your own sandwich. I get to go to basketball games for free. It was fucking beautiful. And then you're like, oh, potential eventually rots.
Yeah.
And then you have to move. You get who wants to be a local celebrity?
Yeah.
And you don't do it to be a celebrity. I could have kept exploring, the things I wanted to talk about on stage and having it be like a purely artistic or self-satisfaction based pursuit. But like, there was always something very depressing to me about like the people who stayed.
Yeah.
And who never went out and tried to.
Yeah, to do it.
Do it. Yeah.
And you had that in you. Because you did it once before with no fucking wisdom at all.
None. And then when I knew I could come down here and there would be like people who would like get me on shows. And I had, I got like, new faces at Just for Laughs this last summer. And I knew like, okay, now is definitely the right time. Now you have the tools you need to come down here and be able to work hard.
Yeah.
And
when you came down, what happened?
I got, I got a panel appearance on Chelsea Lately, booked from Just for Laughs in Montreal.
Okay.
And then like about 4 days after I got here, that's when that was. So I went on and did it. And it went well, and they had me in for a meeting the next day or 2 days later.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what the meeting was about. my manager was like, I think they need a new writer, but I don't know. They won't really say what the meeting's about.
Who's your manager?
Kara Baker.
Okay.
At Avalon.
Yeah.
Same company.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. She came and she signed me when I was still in Portland.
Yeah.
So I'll be with her until forever. But, I went in for the meeting and like I got in there and it was Chelsea Handler was sitting there and then the show's executive producers and like the head writer, they were all sitting in there. And I wore cargo shorts. I had no idea. I wore it's pretty much the same outfit I'm wearing now. And I was like, so what's this about? And like they were like, well, we just want to get to know you better. You were on the panel. So then like I got a little less excited. I was like, well, maybe they